to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nub. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still lights of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of Harry armed women liberationists and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Key, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with Coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
I'm talking about Shabaka going crazy. People going crazy in these motherfuckers. Run that shit back, man.
But it means nothing. Nothing. Got a woman on the day. Man made the car. Carry the heavy load. Man made the electrolyte to take us out of the dark. Man made the boat for the water like the 7 Omega. Man thinks about a little bit of baby girl and a baby boy. Make them happy because man make them dark. But after man make everything we can, do you know that man makes money? To buy from other men. This is a man's world.
I'm talking about Shabaka going crazy. People going crazy in these motherfuckers. Run that shit back, man.
But it means nothing. Nothing. Got a woman on the day. Like the seven no man. Man thinks about a little bit of baby girl and a baby boy. And man makes them happy because man makes them joy. But after man make everything we can, do you know the man makes money? To buy from other men. This is a man's world. But
Grand Rising. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode. Black Experience Enhanced in conjunction with the Front Line Blacc News. I'm your host, Shannon Crewman. Hopefully we'll be joined with Shabaka here shortly. And on this season 10, episode 35 or 35, Grand Rising with Shabaka and the Chase, in conjunction with the Front Line Blacc News, we'll be discussing several topics. The first one is Brett Hankinson, the killer of Breonna Taylor, gets 3 years in the Breonna Taylor case in prison, which, if you ask me, is a slap on the wrist. Then we got Jamal Warner's last message before his death changes everything. Then we got Tariq Nasheed discusses the passing of Jamal Warner. Then we got what Eddie Griffin just said about Jamal Warner, confirms everything we feared. Then we got FBAs demand LA mayor be fired for giving migrants cash money for ICE raids. Then we got Shannon Sharpe settles rape lawsuit, but is it over? Then we got behind closed doors, Maryland lawmakers furious over Governor Westmore's secret reparations stall. And if we have time, that damn RWS, racist white supremacist, World Wrestling Federation, now worldwide World Wrestling Entertainment wrestler, Hulk Hogan passes away at 71. So please join us on StreamYard, YouTube, Front Line Blacc News. The links to all our channels are in the description, including Jay Millie, who is a big wrestling fan and does a lot of wrestling content. So make sure y'all sub up to his channel. And Kukizi, who does our intro track on the Front Line Blacc News, and the Church of Black Power, who has showed us massive love. Our brother out of the Watts, LA area now that lives in Houston. Also support the GoFundMe that Lady Che has set up. And we also have the copyright disclaimer in here under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes, criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. And we do not own the rights to the music. And if you don't understand racism and white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you. In all 9 areas of human activity, which are economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, sex, war, and religion, and some say health and nutrition. All 10 areas of human activity which are controlled by racism and white supremacy. And then when you, a black person, are captured by a race soldier, you must never fuss, fight, or flee. Comply and defend yourself in court. Nelly Foley Jr. as well produced justice. P to the elder. Then we got racism and white supremacy is conscious and subconscious behavior to maintain white genetic survival and prevent white genetic annihilation. And that's from the great Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. R.I.P. to her as well. I'm going to hop right into it. Shout out to Mac 285. Mac, Shabaka is mad at you. I just think he just doesn't have a sense of humor no more. Like, but we'll see. 285 is in the building. Salute to Mac 285. Salute to Twin. And anybody else that will be tapping in this morning, excuse me. It's supposed to be this Grand Rising. So this morning, anybody else that will be tapping in this morning, we'll see. Yeah, he didn't like that African coffee comment. I'm like, Shabaka, where is your sense of humor? Like, both me and Leche both told him, like, it was just a joke. But he took it real serious. Okay, thank you, Matt 285. I'm sure he'll enjoy that. So I'm going to hop right into it with Brett Hankinson, the killer of Breonna Taylor. And Professor Black Truth is going to give us an update on that. Shout out to Professor Black Truth. If you haven't subscribed to Professor Black Truth, what the hell are y'all doing? I've been listening to Professor Black Truth for over 10 years now, and everything that he has said has come to pass. So he's going to give us an update on one of the killers involved in our sister Breonna Taylor's murder, Brett Hankinson, who, by the way, Biden's DOJ did nothing to prosecute nor hold accountable for his actions. So they're saying, "Oh, the dumps DOJ is not doing nothing either." And it's like, okay, we already told y'all that was going to happen. But first, Black Truth's going to give us an update.
Former officer and current prisoner, family and fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth. I don't know about you, but I'm suffering from some serious white fatigue. Former officer and current prisoner Brett Hankinson, one of the murderers of Breonna Taylor, has been sentenced in federal court for his crime to a little under 3 years in prison and then an additional 3 years of probation. The criminal Hankinson isn't believed to be one of the thugs who fired the shot that actually killed Miss Taylor. He instead was firing at least 10 shots all over the place, including into the surrounding apartments, because the cops are so brave, don't you know? It's a miracle this moron didn't kill anyone else. The charge that he got was excessive force. And while the sentence is pitifully small considering what this creep did, the truth is the judge wasn't necessarily the big problem here. Biden's DOJ begrudgingly began the prosecution of Hankinson, but it's Trump's DOJ that's been handling the sentencing portion, and they decided to send a so-called memorandum calling for time served, which would have amounted to 1 day in prison and 3 years probation for this criminal. The judge presiding over the case rejected this memo, calling the Justice Department's recommendation incongruous and inappropriate. The judge also shot down Hankinson's own pathetic plea for a new trial, correctly noting that there were no grounds to do so. Obviously, this is the white right doing their typical performative extremism, because if they felt that this murderer didn't deserve prison time, then why waste everybody's time saying to put him in prison when they knew he would only get 1 day? Why even bother? Pam Bondi's DOJ claimed that the reason that they were advocating for a time-served sentence was that Hankinson didn't actually kill Breonna Taylor, nor did he kill or even wound anyone else. A ridiculous claim that would never be made for anyone, especially not a black person. Now, this memo that was sent at the last minute came from the Justice Department officials themselves, which means the bleach blonde bimbo Pam Bondi. The line prosecutors, that's the actual U.S. attorneys who prosecuted this case, they weren't the ones who sent the memo. This came from Pam Bondi and her clown car of creeps. Tamika Palmer, Breonna Taylor's mother, said that a new prosecutor, one who nobody had seen during the entire trial, came in at the last minute for sentencing and began openly arguing for the defendant instead of for the deceased, Breonna Taylor. Kind of reminds you what the Biden administration did in the trial of Ahmaud Arbery's murderers, saying that a plea deal was appropriate because, after all, they had already been sentenced and we need to go ahead and give the family peace by giving a sweetheart plea deal to the killers. Never mind the fact that the family of Ahmaud Arbery went to court and that they were the ones who openly argued that the criminals needed to go on trial and be convicted. This over the objections of Biden's DOJ. Now, was this asinine agitprop a serious proposal from Pam Bondi? Was this actually something that Trump himself wanted to see? If so, well, he is president, and this was a federal conviction, so he has the ability to go ahead and issue a pardon. He just might, by the way. The white right has so few victories and so many defeats, they need something they can point to and say, see, I'm white and I still say so. That kind of nonsense. We can be disgusted with what happened here, but recognize this is a continuity of policy. Just like with Biden, when he sent his Solicitor General to interject herself into a case before the Supreme Court that the feds had nothing to do with, but they chose to get involved because they wanted to weaken Miranda protections, which is what they did. And in that case, the victim of police violence was also Black. Yes, the Trump administration is more obnoxious and vulgar with their pro-cop advocacy, but Biden's administration was the one that had the chance to charge these murderers with murder. Instead, they decided to reduce the charges to merely crafting a falsified warrant and excessive force. And by the way, that case about crafting a falsified warrant, it still hasn't gone to trial. They wanted to reduce all of that criminality to nothing more than bad paperwork. Biden's DOJ refused to bring federal charges against the other killers because they were trying to walk back the prosecutions that public pressure had been forcing them to make. But regardless of Biden's own wrongdoing, that's still no excuse for the predictable nonsense that's coming from the orange man. But for those of you in the Black grassroots, just understand something. Consider this to be a reminder. We have no friends. While Trump and his degenerate pals are cracking down on illegal aliens rightly, they still consider us to be the enemy as well. It's not as if they've taken us off their enemies list. Remember, being anti-Black is a bipartisan issue. Both political parties subscribe to it. And if I had to answer right now, I would say that I would bet that Trump would actually attempt to try to give some sort of pardon to Hankinson. And the main reason why is Hankinson he would point to and say, well, he didn't kill anybody, unlike, say, Derek Chauvin. But also, while Trump's allegiance to the thugs in blue is genuine, it's also true that his bungling of the Epstein files has created a schism in MAGA land. He would like to have a distraction because that's his go-to maneuver whenever he's trying to pass legislation and wants to get everybody to look the other way. So actually using this as a means to get attention off of his own screw up with Epstein would be exactly the kind of play you would expect the orange man to make. He doesn't exactly have crossover appeal with voters. As far as he's concerned, his play is always to try to gin up the base, do whatever you got to do to rile up the base. That's his only play, so that's what he does all the time. We know the GOP, being the official mouthpieces for the white establishment, are openly on the side of the thugs in blue, but let's be clear. The Democrats weren't exactly given this one the old college try. Miss Taylor was murdered during the first Trump administration, who of course did nothing about it. Now, when Biden took office a year later, there was no urgency or even interest on his part. His administration had 4 years to round up those criminals and lock them up. But it was clear that Biden saw the Breonna Taylor murder as just some activists who needed to be placated or talked to death. They wanted the outcry to simply go away, only it wouldn't. Eventually, Merrick Garland was forced to have to do something, but he dragged his feet from the very beginning, overlooking or even excusing the blatant criminality that had taken place. The corrupt Klansmen in Kentucky broke a ton of laws before and after the murder of Breonna Taylor. I've detailed that for you on this channel. The Louisville police lied, flat out lied, to get that no-knock warrant. They falsely claimed that the post office had told them that suspicious packages were being sent to Breonna's apartment when they knew that the post office had told them the opposite. And truth be told, the post office didn't actually say it to the Louisville police because the local post office had an order that they were not to do anything for the Louisville police. God only knows what the cops had done to get on the mailman's bad side. And the judge who signed off on that fraudulent warrant, she didn't hold the cops in contempt for perjury when she found out that they had lied on the affidavit. But then again, that judge never saw a police warrant that she wouldn't sign off on. The cops couldn't get their lies straight about which one of them made out the fraudulent affidavit that they used to get the no-knock warrant. They couldn't get their lies straight about whether they knocked or didn't. They claimed that they did knock, which begs the question, why did they apply for a no-knock warrant then? They also lied and claimed that there were drugs and guns that they were going to find, but of course they didn't find anything. The police lied about who fired and when. They just couldn't get their story straight. While the murder of Breonna Taylor was high profile, it was hardly a complicated case. But for the Biden administration, it was a political dilemma. He was trying to undo the progress that had been made on punishing the police since 2020. All that taking a knee crap that the Democrats were doing for the cameras, that was just pathetic PR, and it didn't fool anyone. Biden made it clear whose side he was on: the criminals. Every crooked cop, every lying deputy, every dirty DA, every scumbag judge. There need to be RICO cases put on all of them. Now, for the Democrat shills who infest my comments section, who will point to what the Trump DOJ just tried to pull and say, see, this is the reason why y'all need to go on the war path against the orange man. First of all, we're not supporting him, stupid. Second, are the Democrats going to go after the police? The entire reason black voters stayed home was because you have cities under Democrat mayors. You have Democrat DAs who prosecute these degenerates. That's what happened with Breonna Taylor. They allowed the white right to push laws and policies meant to embolden the thugs in blue, and instead of pushing back and putting the law and policies in place to punish the police, instead Biden bragged about diverting COVID funds to the cops. Democrats bragged about backing the badge instead of breaking the badge. Where are the laws to clarify that citizens can and should protect themselves from police brutality and that the law will be on their side? You see, Kenneth Walker did the right thing. And if more citizens protected themselves from these police ambushes, a lot less innocent people would be dead. But you don't see the Democrats saying, wait, we got to be on the side of the citizens here. We know these cops are dirty. Somebody's got to rein them in. And the citizens cannot hesitate when they're being fired upon or being threatened. Democrats could have and should have been pushing rafts of legislation to go after the police and make it a point to put forward prosecutors who will go after them. But they didn't do any of that. 4 years that they had the Breonna Taylor murder case on their desk, and the best that they could come up with was excessive force and fraudulent paperwork, because corrupt politicians rely on corrupt cops to protect them at all levels. That's the purpose that the police play in a dirty system like this. Let's get something straight. The only reason that a case was even brought at all was because the grassroots demanded it and didn't stop demanding it and made it something that couldn't be buried. The grassroots put up billboards, and then the queen of the white media bootlicks, Oprah, tried to jump on that bandwagon. She tried to dispel the energy, but it didn't work. She wanted to get out in front of it and say, I'm going to be the leader of this particular parade, but nobody was following her. I remember making it a point to get on the case of 2 of the writers for the Washington Post who had been misreporting on that murder and were omitting the information about the fraudulent affidavits for the no-knock warrants. I started going after them on Twitter on my own. I made it a point not to bring the family into that because I didn't want for them to be able to lie and claim that there was some sort of organized harassment campaign against them or anything else. What I did was I went into the threads on their Twitter feeds and started posting links to official newspapers in Louisville and Kentucky, in other words, so-called credible news sources that had reported on the fraudulent affidavits, and asked them, when are you guys going to report on it? This in turn forced these Washington Post writers to have to do follow-up pieces that finally mentioned the fraudulent affidavits in their reporting. And the Washington Post matters because it's the inside the Beltway paper of record, and people in political circles are at least aware of its coverage. And it was pretty much after that that other white media organs began to finally talk about those fraudulent affidavits. Now, again, I have no direct evidence of this, but I don't think it's a coincidence that the main thing the Biden DOJ chose to focus on was precisely the fraudulent paperwork from the police that led to Breonna's murder. That was the first domino to fall. If the Democrats are supposed to be different than the Republicans on policy, then they have to actually be different. If we have to drag them kicking and screaming to do the things that as their constituency, their so-called base, that they are supposed to be doing for us anyway, then that doesn't mean that they're actual opposition. That means they are controlled opposition. They are different in rhetoric only. Hell, even Republican administrations can be pressured into bringing prosecutions against the police occasionally if there is sufficient and sustained public pressure to do so. So please don't try to make Biden into some sort of saint just because after the uprisings of 2020, he felt enough heat where he felt like he had to try to do something to placate the outraged masses. The only reason that any of these scumbags are being held to account is because of the activists who were in the street, not because of any alleged decency by the Democrats. The grassroots made that happen. The same way the grassroots made the prosecution of Ahmaud Arbery's murderers happen. The politicians weren't responsible for that. As Dr. Claude Anderson said, politicians react to the conditions under them. What we do is more important than what they do, because persistence on our part shapes the landscape that the politicians have to operate in. We're fighting a war against white supremacy, and in war, you can't spend too much time basking in your victories or lamenting your setbacks. You got to keep moving forward regardless. We keep the heat on the bastards. We remain adamant that our demands aren't going to change, and that we punish those who refuse to submit to our demands. If we do what we're supposed to do, then before it's all over, we will create a social and legal environment of justice so that these cowardly scumbags know that no matter who's in office, they'll no longer be able to. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors: Glenda Tice, Samora Morris, Sakina Collins, Christopher Pittman, and Nathan Gunter. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.
Right on, Professor Black Truth. I agree with everything Professor Black Truth had to say. I was at the forefront of this in regards to George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Sandra Bland, Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin.
About 22 days ago, I started using the Japanese.
The list goes on and on and on and on. Say their name. I was there when all this stuff was going down, and like he said, it was the Black grassroots that got this even any kind of exposure, because we were protesting for Elijah McClain over here in Denver, Colorado, in Aurora, Colorado, after he was killed. And this happened the same year he was killed, that Breonna Taylor was killed. So, and then like a year later is when George Floyd was killed. So we were protesting heavy behind police brutality and these murders of unarmed Black men and women for almost a decade. So Biden didn't do nothing about this. The whole 4 years he was in office, just like he said. The Attorney General of Kentucky didn't do nothing about it. The raccoon that they elected, Daniel Cameron, he didn't do nothing about it. In fact, he tried to avoid it at all costs so he could get elected, but he lost the election, thank God. He lost his re-election, so thank God for that. Shout out to the Black grassroots for that as well, down in Louisville, Kentucky. So yeah, to hell with Brett Hankinson. It's a damn shame it took this damn long for him to even get sentenced. He was the one that shot into our apartment. It was him and several other officers. He's, as far as I know, the one to get the first sentence. And they sentenced him to 3 years. And Trump's DOJ was recommending only 1 day in prison. We had covered that on the Front Line Blacc News last week. So, RIP to Breonna Taylor. You lost your life unjustifiably. And shout out to Kenneth Walker for defending the household like we all are supposed to do when these race soldiers come barging in unannounced, unwarranted, and unjustifiably. All right, so I'm going to move us along because we had several deaths this week. And the first death that we had was Malcolm Jamal Warner of the Cosby Show, from the Cosby Show. And we covered his death. They ruined it, an accidental drowning down in Costa Rica. But he had a message before he died, before he was killed. So I'm going to play that. So shout out to the Golden Age. They released this video. It says Malcolm Jamal Warner's message before his death. Changes everything. How to still add to hell with you, Oprah.
Age of 54.
I'm tired. And aren't you tired? And aren't we it is to be Black in America, even if it looks like we've got it made?
Yeah. Because when you watch someone who you know and love, go through what he's going through.
Malcolm Jamal Warner, the beloved actor who rose to fame as Theo Huxtable, is gone. And his final message? It wasn't just a goodbye. It was a warning.
And if for some reason you can't find a reason to smile, then that's probably the best time to be the reason for somebody else to smile.
And now that he's passed, people are starting to ask the real questions. Why wasn't anyone listening? Why does it feel like every time someone speaks out, do they end up silenced?
But freedom has its limits, so here we are, tear-streaked and salt-stained faces. Traces of trauma and pain lace our DNA like our Black pride is cut and laced with self-hate.
Was this just another tragedy? Or part of a pattern that's getting too hard to ignore? Let's get into it. Malcolm Jamal Warner's sudden death has left fans in shock, and others in deep suspicion. The 54-year-old actor, beloved for his role as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, reportedly drowned while vacationing with his family in Costa Rica. Authorities claim it was a tragic accident, a drowning caused by strong currents off the coast of Cocles Beach in Lyman.
Reports that the 54-year-old was in Costa Rica on a family vacation and accidentally drowned while swimming.
The Associated Press reported that the local police initially reported that Warner was rescued by people on the beach, but first responders from Costa Rica's Red Cross found him without vital signs.
This is the shake that can help people poop out extra weight fast. Forget begging for mercy for hours on the toilet.
And he was taken to the morgue. But the story doesn't sit right with everyone. The timing, the circumstances, and, most disturbingly, the message he left behind just days before his death. All of it feels too eerie to ignore. Warner wasn't just on vacation. He was on a mission to tell the truth.
Can you tell me the fate of the people who consciously take the bait and embrace the very traits placed upon them by their captors, who by design are inclined to keep them believing they're second rates? I'll wait.
In the final episode of his podcast, Not All Hood, released just 2 days before his passing, Warner delivered what fans are now calling his farewell message in disguise. And what he spoke about wasn't lighthearted or surface level. It was raw. It was urgent. And it was deeply personal. Warner reflected on a recent exchange he had with spoken word artist Tamika Georgia Me Harper, who challenged his podcast's title. When he told her it was called Not All Hood, she immediately interrupted, "Ain't nothing wrong with the hood." That brief comment sent Warner down a spiral of reflection. He realized that the media has long sold one version of Black culture, the hood narrative, while ignoring the richness, the nuance, and the power behind it.
You know, the reason for the title is combating the narrative of Black life, Black culture that the media focuses on.
He wasn't distancing himself from the hood. He was calling out the system that exploits and misunderstands it. In his own words, the hood side, ultimately, historically, is what has always created American culture. That's not just a cultural observation. That's a bold truth about appropriation, invisibility, and stolen legacy, a truth Hollywood has spent decades trying to silence. But Warner didn't stop there. He also got personal about how his views on terms like Black excellence had evolved. Once skeptical of the phrase because of its attachment to fame and wealth, Warner said a conversation about Black soldiers being erased from Arlington National Cemetery's historical records changed his perspective. Black survival in of itself is Black excellence, he said. Not fame, not awards, not money.
We're not all hood. The Black community is not a monolith. There's so many levels and lanes to the Black community, and we wanted to have a space where we could acknowledge, discuss all of those lanes.
Just survival. That line hit hard then, and it hits even hard. It's almost as if Warner sensed something, as if he knew his time was limited, and he wanted his final message to center the truth of Black endurance, struggle, and resilience. And just like that, within 48 hours of dropping this powerful, vulnerable conversation, he was gone. For a whole generation, Malcolm Jamal Warner was, and in many ways still is, known as Theodore Huxtable, as the friendly, sometimes silly, always likable only son on The Cosby Show. He became a regular presence in millions of homes. His role as Theo, a teen dealing with things like dyslexia, growing up, and the calm advice of his parents, helped shape a lasting image of someone kind, steady, and relatable. This image stuck with him for years, which brings up an important question. Who is the real Malcolm Jamal Warner behind that positive public image? Looking into the controversies and tragedies of his life doesn't reveal scandal or drama caused by him. Instead, it shows a man who has quietly faced serious challenges, from painful personal loss to the heavy legacy of a show now overshadowed by controversy. Through it all, Warner has stayed thoughtful, steady, and true to himself. By exploring how he handled the fallout from the Bill Cosby scandal, how he coped with heartbreak, and how he avoided the downfall that hits many child stars, we see a different side of him. Someone who turned tough experiences into strength and grew into a mature and respected artist.
It's difficult not to, not to feel something, have some kind of emotional response to, what this person is going through.
The biggest and most difficult controversy in Malcolm Jamal Warner's career wasn't something he caused. It was something he got pulled into because of his connection to Bill Cosby. Warner's response showed he found himself caught between personal loyalty, public pressure, and the emotional weight of being part of a show that meant so much to American culture. To really understand his reaction, you need to know how close he was to Cosby. Cosby didn't just work with Warner, he shaped his life. He chose 13-year-old Warner for the role of Theo.
This is the biggest magnesium scam. New study.
After a nationwide search. On set, Cosby led by example. Warner often said that despite being a huge star, Cosby never acted like it, and that taught him how to stay grounded. Cosby also gave him creative advice, like avoiding trendy slang so the show wouldn't feel outdated. Years later, Warner said this was true. When he watched the show with his daughter, it still held up. Their bond was a mix of mentorship and fatherly guidance, which made the later scandal even more painful for Warner.
My biggest feeling is I feel sad for, just the way the whole, just the way the whole story has come about.
When over 50 women came forward accusing Cosby of SA, Warner was pushed into the spotlight. His response wasn't a simple defense. It was careful and emotional. In a 2015 interview, he said, "He's one of my mentors. Just as it's painful to hear any woman talk about SA, whether true or not, it's just as painful to watch my friend and mentor go through this." That one quote shows how torn he was, wanting to respect the victims while also admitting how hard it was to watch someone he looked up to fall. He didn't defend Cosby, but he also didn't turn his back on him. As he put it, "I can't defend him, but I won't throw him under the bus either." Warner also criticized how the media handled the story, calling it a circus and pointing out that not all the accusations were the same. He wasn't trying to excuse Cosby, just asking for a more thoughtful conversation. It was a difficult, painful tightrope walk that showed how emotionally heavy this chapter was for him. A big part of Malcolm Jamal Warner's pain during the Cosby scandal wasn't just about the personal accusations. It was about the damage done to the Cosby Show's legacy. He often said the thing that hurt him most was seeing the show pulled from syndication. For Warner, The Cosby Show wasn't just a job. It was a cultural milestone that gave America a different, more positive view of Black families. "We've always had The Cosby Show to hold up against that," he said. "And the fact that we no longer have that, that's what saddens me the most. In a few generations, the Huxtables will just be a fairy tale." He was also honest about how the show being pulled hurt him personally. He pointed out the double standard, how work by filmmakers like Woody Allen and Roman Polanski was still being shown, while The Cosby Show was completely erased. He admitted that the financial hit was real, saying, "It's literally taking money out of my pocket." So, While part of his frustration was about culture and representation, part of it was practical too, showing that the fallout affected both his beliefs and his livelihood.
After having had such a long path and long journey, you have something like this that you've got to contend with.
Warner's feelings about the controversy didn't stay the same. They changed over time. At first, he agreed the show's legacy had been tarnished. But then, a conversation with his TV sister, Keshia Knight Pulliam, who played Rudy, shifted his thinking. She reminded him that the show had inspired generations of people, especially young Black viewers, to go to college and dream bigger. And that kind of real-world impact couldn't be erased. Warner later said, "Her saying that really shifted my perspective." That moment was a turning point. It helped him move from focusing on what was lost to seeing what the show had already given the world. Instead of letting the scandal define the legacy, he began to argue that its positive impact could still stand on its own. This shift showed Warner's ability to reflect, grow, and hold on to a more hopeful view, one that separates the art and its influence from the mistakes of the man behind it. His emotional journey, from sadness to frustration to reflection and finally resilience, shows a very real, very human way of dealing with something that shook the foundation of his life and career. Perhaps the most surprising thing about Malcolm Jamal Warner's history is the lack of scandal, and that in itself is telling. In a world where many child stars fall into public struggles, Warner stands out for doing the exact opposite. His calm, steady life wasn't an accident. It was the result of smart choices and serious discipline. From the day The Cosby Show ended, Warner worked hard to separate himself from the character of Theo Huxtable. He even admitted there was a time he didn't like being called Theo at all. That wasn't just an emotional reaction, it was a professional move. He made it his mission to prove he was more than just a childhood role. Warner explored many paths. He directed TV episodes, including Kenan and Kel, became an accomplished musician and spoken word artist, and won a Grammy for Best Traditional R&B Performance. He was even nominated for a Grammy for Best Spoken Word Poetry Album. As an actor, he didn't stick to safe or repetitive roles. He co-starred in the comedy Malcolm and Eddie, took dramatic parts in The Resident, Suits, and Major Crimes, and even showed up in the critically praised American Crime Story, The People vs. O.J. Simpson. This range proves that Warner's steady rise was no accident. It was the result of hard, consistent work to be seen as a real artist, not just a former child star.
They were tired of me fighting with the writers.
What makes Warner's story even more impressive is what's missing. While many of his peers ended up in legal trouble, addiction, or media scandals, Warner has stayed clear. He credits his mother, Pamela, who managed his career and gave him a strong sense.
Grand Rising, Shabaka.
Yeah, what's going on?
Shabaka. Just covering some topics. I already went over Brett Hankinson getting 3 years in prison. And then I'm to Malcolm Jamal Warner now.
All right. Okay.
Twin and Mac apologized. They said they expect their elders. And they didn't mean nothing by whatever it is that they said that upsets you.
Yeah. All right. You know, I accept the apology, you see. But what it is, man, is that, like, all that I lived through, what I try to pass down to you brothers, you see what I'm saying? You know, it's kind of crazy, you see. I mean, of how we went from one thing to the other, but of course, as we all know, man, we got outside forces, man, that's all messing with us. I mean, and this time around for y'all's generation, man, it's real bad. You see, they got all this high-tech, stupid stuff with it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So y'all are going over Malcolm Jamal Warner, as we all know, he died in Costa Rica. You know, he got pulled in the riptides. You know, Bill Cosby had made comments and stuff in regard to Malcolm's death. is that he said it brought back the memories that he had went through when Bill Cosby lost his real son, Ennis Cosby, on the 405 freeway off of Sunset Boulevard. And this here was like about 1996, I think. Yeah. And the cold part about it is, man, it was a white supremacist, you know what I'm saying, that shot him. But it's something weird about that Bill Cosby's real son case, is because he's out there, man, at 2 o'clock in the morning, man, out there in West LA in the near the Beverly Hills area, right? Yeah. Okay. And all of a sudden his tire goes out and he's on the side of the freeway repairing his tire. Then all of a sudden a white boy, man, it was a Russian dude, I forgot his name, goes up there and shoots and kills him. Then he had states, you know, to people that he knew, oh, I just killed a nigga, and it's all over the news.
Oh, so, yeah. I forgot that person's name, but yeah.
Now, you see why y'all need old folks around, man? Because I was your age when that went down.
Yeah, I was a kid when that happened, and I was like, what the hell? I was I think I had just turned 9.
Yeah. And I think I was 29, 30. Wait a minute. I was in my mid 30s right there. Actually, man, I was in your age group that you are now when it went down. Okay. So they got him. You know what I'm saying? Then a trial had went on TV, you know, because this is just right after the O.J. Simpson shit. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, you know, they gave him like life, but really that individual deserved the death penalty. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, but you know, when it comes to them, man, and when it comes to us, like Sidney Poitier said, you got color time in jail and you got white time. The worst type of time to do is color time.
So, this video I was playing, Shabaka. Yeah, that's very true. This video I was playing about his last message before his death. So he basically said, like, he's tired of black people getting killed. He's tired of how the industry treats black people. He was talking about how he felt when Cosby was going through what he was going through.
Right.
It's still, the jury's still out on if this was an accident or not. But I'm trying to play based off of what he said. Like somebody had it out for him.
Probably, man, because see, you got to understand in that industry. And like Matt 285 said, yeah, man, something ain't right. Something not right. You know, like what old boy was saying in the O.J. Simpson case. You see, you know, and this is what I've been telling you all the generations after me why I stand on the square that I stand on. It's because we built this damn country, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Contributed greatly to the gross national product, and as we all know what that is, that there's a total amount of money spent on goods and services for a certain year. Look how they keep treating us people, you know, like we're subhuman, and then like look what we do to each other. You see what I mean? You know, look what we do to each other, and then of course we got these outside forces that try to manipulate us, you know, doing our own selves there. See?
So I'm gonna let the video continue. It was on to his mother and how she influenced him. It's almost over. It's like 10 minutes left.
All right.
Discipline early on.
Breaking news. If you're taking metformin or is a
and even back in the 80s, Warner was promoting positive messages long before it was trendy. In his 1988 book, Theo and Me, Growing Up Okay, he gave advice to young fans about staying away from drugs and making good choices. That book wasn't about fame, it was about responsibility. This lack of scandal says a lot. Warner didn't just survive child stardom. He studied what went wrong for others and built a life designed to avoid those same mistakes.
Right.
His creative growth also tells a powerful story. His early advice book was still tied closely to his TV fame. But as he got older, his work became deeper and more socially aware. His Grammy-nominated spoken word album Hiding in Plain View and his 2017 short film You Can't Hear Me tackled serious issues like mass incarceration, racism, and deportation. These were not surface-level projects. They were rooted in a political and personal awareness that had been shaped early on by his father, who made him study Black leaders like Langston Hughes as a kid. Warner's journey from child star to thoughtful artist is no fluke. It's a clear example of what happens when talent meets purpose, and when someone decides to grow on their own terms, no matter what the spotlight demands. Beyond the professional challenges of the Cosby scandal, some of the most defining moments in Malcolm Jamal Warner's life were personal. Private heartbreaks that quietly shaped how he approached love, fame, and privacy. These weren't public controversies, but deeply emotional experiences that left lasting marks on his life and outlook. One of the most significant tragedies came in his early adulthood: the death of Michelle Thomas, his former girlfriend and Cosby Show co-star, who played Justine, Theo's on-screen love interest. Though their romantic relationship ended in 1994, they remained incredibly close. In 1997, Thomas was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive stomach cancer. When she passed away in December 1998, at just 30 years old, Warner was reportedly by her side. Losing someone so young, someone who had shared both the spotlight and a deep bond with him, was a heartbreaking confrontation with mortality. And he handled it far from the public eye, with quiet grace and deep reflection. It's a loss that likely helped shape his calm, thoughtful, and serious perspective on life and love.
As I remind myself that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile. Like if you just take a minute to stop and take stock, I guarantee you can find at least one reason to smile.
Years later, Warner found himself in a very different kind of relationship. This time, one that played out under the harsh light of public attention. From 2011 to 2013, he was in a high-profile romance with actress Regina King. The two had known each other since their teenage fame days in the 80s and even lived together. But their breakup in 2013 came suddenly and became a hot topic in the media. Tabloids reported that Warner had unexpectedly asked King and her son to move out. The story turned even more dramatic when King later suggested in a 2015 interview that he had broken up with her on Valentine's Day, only to send flowers afterward with a note that read, "I still love you." She said she threw the flowers away. That painful, very public breakup was a sharp contrast to the private, quiet grief he had experienced with Michelle Thomas. While the first loss deepened his appreciation for real connection, the second heartbreak seemed to push him toward a firm boundary when it came to sharing his personal life. After the Regina King breakup, Warner became extremely private about his relationships, rarely discussing them in interviews or on social media. Together, these two life experiences taught him powerful lessons: how fragile and precious love can be, and how destructive it can become when turned into public spectacle.
Guess what, Shabaka? Guess who's in Las Vegas? Shabaka? Guess who's in Las Vegas this week? Yeah, for the Beyonce concert.
They're having a Beyonce concert here this week?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Thank you for letting me know. So let me get in and out of what I got to do today. All these fools come out here.
Yeah, Tariq Nasheed is in Las Vegas this week for the Beyonce concert.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm.
I just found out today, this morning on his Twitter space.
Yeah, so he's probably comped. You know what that means, right?
Compromised?
No. What it is complimentary residency.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
loss was a private sorrow.
Now, in other words, what I was saying was, is that Hollywood, Vegas, they're all intertwined, as you know. And this is like how the degradation of the black male on past episodes that I have mentioned, you know. Okay, we'll put you out there, we'll put your name in lights, but however, at the same token, you know, there's a whole lot of, how should I say, rules and regulations they got to follow, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And,
yeah, Mac, I ain't mad at Tariq for living the good life. You know, we all want to live the good life. You know, Kanye West made that record. You know what I'm saying?
He sure did.
Yeah, they say, you know, so it ain't nothing wrong with living a good life. But what it is I got to mute myself for 1 second.
Okay. What are you doing? I'm going to finish this video.
Bro, that strengthened his emotional depth.
Turn
the
on
other
each other.
was a public
Right. Okay, let me finish the video, Shabaka.
Yeah.
Deal that reinforced his need to protect his peace. These lessons helped shape the grounded, thoughtful man Warner would ultimately become. Fans are now connecting the dots, and the pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. It seems that every time a black celebrity begins to peel back the layers, begins to speak with honesty, challenge the system, or reclaim the narrative, tragedy strikes. Warner, much like others before him, was stepping into a new chapter. He wasn't just reflecting on the past, he was reimagining the future. Through his podcast, he had built a safe space to explore the complexity of black identity, one that wasn't filtered through Hollywood's glossy, sanitized lens. And that space, as small as it may have seemed, was dangerous to the status quo.
And at least they would think it's dope. Just like the music we're programmed to celebrate.
Then there's the Meghan Markle moment. Subtle, but telling. In an earlier podcast appearance on the Tariq Ray show, Warner was asked what it was like working with Markle during their time on Suits. He gave what sounded like a diplomatic answer at first, calling her cool and nice. But when asked if he knew she was black, his reply took a sharper turn. The great thing is that she knew, he said. At first glance, it seems like a compliment, but the subtext? That's where things get interesting. Warner wasn't praising Markle. He was implying something deeper, that she knew but didn't always show it, that her proximity to whiteness was a choice, and that maybe, just maybe, the Hollywood machine preferred her that way. Warner didn't say it outright. He didn't have to. It was all in the tone, in the pause, in the weight of those words. It was a subtle critique, and one that's now being re-examined through a whole new lens.
It was cool. We didn't really have scenes together, so I'd see her, and she was really nice, really cool. You know, my best friend, I was talking about Chris.
This is the same industry, after all, that lifted Warner up as a child star in the 1980s, then watched as he quietly built a meaningful career as a director, musician, and advocate, all while keeping him at arm's length. Warner was never part of the headline-hungry, paparazzi-fueled crowd. He worked, he created, he elevated conversations, and yet his death was barely acknowledged by the Hollywood elite. No major memorial specials, no primetime tributes, just a few quiet headlines and a whole lot of silence. For a man who shaped a generation's childhood, that silence is deafening. The more people look back at Warner's final podcast episode, the more it feels like a man who was trying to leave a breadcrumb trail. He was talking about cultural erasure, about how black soldiers fought for freedoms they never got to enjoy, about how the hood, despite being demonized, was the birthplace of so much American greatness. He was redefining success, not by what you have, but by what you survive. And now he's gone, right when those messages were finally getting traction. It's no longer just a coincidence. Warner's death fits into a long list of tragedies that seem to strike just as truth tellers reach their peak. Chadwick Boseman passed after quietly battling cancer. while releasing roles that challenged whitewashed narratives. Nipsey
Exactly.
Hussle was gunned down after preaching ownership and community investment. Dave Chappelle was nearly canceled for walking away from a corrupt industry and daring to speak his mind. Now, Warner, who had finally found a platform to be unfiltered, is gone.
I had the show and felt like people was trying to control me. I was freaked out. I don't know. I just had to get out of there. I walked away. Since $50 million, it's all gone. I'm scared.
We're not saying it was a conspiracy, but we are saying it feels suspicious. Because whenever someone tries to pull back the curtain on Hollywood's sanitized version of blackness, when they start celebrating the parts that aren't profitable or start talking about struggle instead of success, something happens. And it usually ends with heartbreak. Malcolm Jamal Warner deserved more than a headline. He deserved more than a footnote in the gossip blogs. He was a man with a message, one that challenged everything we've been told to accept. And now that message is all we have left. It's time we listen to it before someone else disappears. That's it for today. See you in the next video. Until then,
make sure y'all like and subscribe to Front Line Blacc News.
Exactly.
We haven't grown.
Now, see, what you all saw right here had proved my point all along. And by the way, just letting everybody know they tore down my YouTube account. Okay. Yeah, they did it to me day before yesterday. Yeah, so just letting everybody know they tore down my YouTube.
You should be able to appeal it, Shabaka.
Yeah, so because I had sent them a letter, you know, going up there scratching my ass a little bit, man. But like I said, it is what it is. And this is the only thing I tried to do is to lay down, you know, these hard truths to the generations after me. Because your generation is very intelligent, Brother Paris. But what it is this is why they don't want us talking, you know, the things that I've talked about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what have you, you see. And
hold on, Shabaka. Speaking of my generation, we grew up on this. We grew up on the Cosby Show. We grew up on Theo Hustle. We grew up on the whole family, and this really hit close to home when he passed away because it was just like, damn, one of our childhood.
Yeah, he was only 54, Brother Paris.
Yeah, he's the same age as my mom. My mom will be 54 in December.
Yeah, you say he was only 54 years old. And this is why, unfortunately, we don't have the power in Hollywood that we do. Because, hey, man, I would love to see some films on Mansa Musa. I mean, if somebody's out there with some money, y'all might could do something, you know, with the FBA thing. You see what I mean? I stand on my square and say, and the last couple of weeks, you know, I had to prove my point. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, regards to FBA, Shabaka, Tariq is working on a new film anyway. He got Hidden Colors 6 coming out, and then I think he's gonna do a strictly FBA film after that. So all of that, as well as the Mansa Musa flick, is also.
Okay, now check this out too, people. Now, what's going to happen is with Mansa Musa, we need to do a show ourselves on Mansa Musa. Is because let's be real, people. The Hollywood industry is going to whitewash it straight out. Yeah, and you ain't lying. Hollywood is weird. That's why I'm glad you told me that day. Get away from TMZ. You know what I mean? You said head for the hills, Shabaka, they the feds. Get up out of there. You know, get out of Dodge. You know what I'm saying? You know, and then also too, which a film that they're not gonna make that I think that the black filmmakers, if they pull their resources, could do it, would be on what our brother Isaiah was talking about the sister who started the business down there in downtown Los Angeles on the slave master.
I think Tariq is going to cover that on Next Hidden Colors. He mentioned her in the series already.
Okay.
She was mentioned in 2 or 3 of the documentaries.
Right. You say, Now, being a diasporic African, when you have such a viewpoint, right? And I will debate and continue to debate until, y'all hear something like this here about me. But it's going to be something like about Shabaka coming up missing where he at. You see what I'm saying? Okay, now, I can understand, what y'all say, what we all say, that we did build this country, then not to mention the fact that not only do we contribute to the economy of the United States, you also we contributed greatly to the economy of Europe. You see what I mean? And then, of course, our sister, out in California, who talks about these troglodytes, which she is right about. Because as you had pointed out, a while back, Paris, is that the Catholic Church thought it was a sin for somebody to bathe.
Yeah, it was a sin to get naked and cleanse yourself.
How is that a sin? Cleaning your body. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you see the double speak on the people. And I think Lady J had mentioned on the last Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced that we don't need to turn on each other. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, like I said, they know who we are. They know what we are.
Definitely know who we are.
Yeah, and we don't hate nobody. All I advocate is that we quit hating ourselves. You see what I mean?
Right. So our brother Tariq has something to say about the passing of Jamal Warner.
All right.
I'll play that next. And then we got your girl Karen Bass.
Karen Bass. Oh God. Oh,
Are you looking to establish your business? One.
Before we get started, let me shout out some of the regulars and give me a thumbs up if you and FBA clothes, and we got the Tethinator in the building. Much respect to you guys. And we will take some calls shortly, but we gotta speak on what's going on. We gotta give honor to our good brother Malcolm Jamal Warner.
Yeah.
Our good brother, our good FBA brother, Malcolm Jamal Warner passed, man. Man, that hit us hard. That hit me hard. That just hit everybody hard. Didn't that tear y'all up today? I know that tore y'all up. We were toe up over this stuff, man. This hit real different. For those who don't know, our good brother from who gained his popularity from the Cosby Show as a child actor, Malcolm Jamal Warner, he unexpectedly died because of a drowning accident out there in Costa Rica. He was out there vacationing with the family, and he was swimming out there at on the Caribbean side of Costa Rica. He was in, I think, Limon. I think that's the name of the area. And I've been to Costa Rica a couple of times. I'm usually on the Pacific side. We wanted to go out there to the Caribbean side. We just never got a chance to. But he was out there, and they were on the beach, and then a current kind of pulled him into the ocean. I know the current.
It's called the riptide.
Side of the country over there on the Caribbean side, and they said some bystanders tried to help. They kind of drug him to shore, but the Red Cross declared him dead. And boy, it was just real random. What's up, Nicety Girl? What's up, Brother McCall?
Shout out to Nicety Girl.
And listen, man, this thing, it really, really hit different. There's been deaths of high-profile people lately that has hit hard. Like, Walter from the Whispers died. That hit, but he was older. So he's been around for a minute. So that's almost to be expected. But with Malcolm Jamal Warner, he's 54 years old, brother in the very healthy, on top of his game, tip-top shape, a very healthy brother, very positive brother, very constructive brother. And him passing like this, it hits real different. And this hits different for a few reasons. This hits real different. It's almost like we lost a family member because we grew up with this brother. We grew up with Malcolm Jamal Warner. He was family on television. And, his portrayal of Theo Huxtable, that made him a TV brother, a TV son to an entire generation. Black people, we watch him grow up in our living rooms every week. So there was an emotional bond. When I was a kid, people used to say, "Oh, you look like Theo." The white people used to tell me that all the time. "Oh, you look like Theo from the Cosby Show." So we had a real strong connection there. And speaking of the Cosby Show, I talked to Dr. Bill Cosby today. I spoke with him. Shout out to my sister Kia, who kind of connects us. And I talked to Bill Cosby today, and he's going through it, but he's pulling through. And we talked for a brief minute. We didn't talk that long. I wanted to offer my condolences and prayers and strength. And he was like, "Hey, brother, basically, man, I done lost 2 sons." He told me, "Hey, I lost 2 sons, man. I lost my son Ennis, and now I lost, my other son Malcolm." So, I'm gonna try to pull through. So that's heavy. That's heavy, but he's pulling through. So shout out to Dr. Bill Cosby.
Yes.
But Malcolm Jamal Warner, man, he represented intelligent, well-rounded masculinity for a black man.
That he did.
They did.
His whole character and just how he got down, that was a rare representation of a young black male just navigating through adolescence. We saw this young man on television, and he wasn't, it wasn't a stereotype.
Right.
Yeah, he symbolized what a lot of us wanted to see and be. It was a very, very positive role model.
Right.
For us black males. He grew up with us.
Right.
And the thing about Malcolm, which we loved and what's hitting so different, he grew up with us. He grew with us. Unlike a lot of the other child stars, Malcolm, he transitioned gracefully into adulthood.
Yeah.
While, still remaining visible and grounded. He started doing, he was continuing to act and doing poetry and music, and we witnessed his evolution in a dignified way. And as you know, that's rare.
Right.
A lot of child actors in Hollywood, especially black ones, they end up in the game.
Yep.
Let's be real.
No, that's a fact.
Can you please just hear me out? No, all work management platforms are the same. They take forever to learn. And
sorry about that.
A lot of them. They not just the black ones, white ones too. A lot of these child actors, when they grow up, it's hard for them to transition.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look,
and I'm talking about from back in the day into recently.
Yep.
Hell, the Hakeem from Empire, the dude who played Hakeem, he was a child actor. Have you seen how this nigga's getting down lately?
Oh, man.
This dude is spreading his pussy all on Twitter. He's doing all types of weird shit. The Hollywood does shit to you, man. If you're a kid, it will mess you up.
Tell me about it. I grew up in Los Angeles. Tell me about it. Shit. Fucking tell me about it.
And we didn't see, the Todd Bridges and people like seeing that. And did y'all see recently? They had a white lady who was married to him. Did y'all see this? There was something. This was a few weeks ago. She was on some show because Gary was married to this weird white chick, and they had some kind of real hostile, toxic relationship. They were yelling at each other, fighting all the time. And then he died. He died mysteriously. They said he, quote, fell. And if y'all listen back to my old Mac Lessons radio show, I would always question that. I said, that don't sound right. I used to talk about that all the time. Like, he fell and died? What kind of shit is that?
Yeah.
So they did a polygraph test on old girl, the white girl. Like, hey, did he fall and die? Or did you have anything to do with the man's death? And she failed the polygraph test. I'm like, she actually failed the test. Like, no, I didn't have nothing to do with it. Like, well, this polygraph test said you lying. That's what I said. I think that white woman body slammed the shit out of Gary Coleman. I don't think, allegedly.
Probably.
I don't think he fell and died. He too little to fall and die. You don't have that much gravity. He ain't what number 4 foot tall.
Right.
You don't fall at 4 feet. You tumble. You don't die and tumble.
Right.
I think she suplexed his ass down a flight of stairs.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said that, and they never questioned nothing. I never bought that shit about him falling. I'm like, look at her ass.
That's
Something
Los
happened.
Angeles County for you.
I ain't buying none of that shit. I think she gave his little ass the people's elbow or something, allegedly. So yeah, they never really investigated that. Yeah. So yeah, I've always felt a certain way about that. But again, like I said, my point is, a lot of these child actors, they really didn't transition. What's up, Sister Burke? I see you, beloved. They didn't really transition into adulthood that good. And our good brother Malcolm, he transitioned. And the thing about brother Malcolm, man, he never embarrassed the culture.
Yeah.
You know, Malcolm Jamal Warner, you never saw him in those scandals. He wasn't exploited. He always carried himself with integrity.
Right.
Yeah, you know, we see a lot of black public figures. They get taken down by controversy and all that shit. He was very consistent, man. He always had dignity and pride, always.
Yeah.
You know, and he
This is what
uplifted
I
other
be trying
people.
to tell y'all.
You know, beyond acting, he was involved in mentoring, community uplift, just amplifying black artistic voices. You know, he was doing the poetry thing. He played what kind of bass is that? He played bass. I forgot the kind of the upright standing bass, because I think he was in a band. He had a band called Miles Long, something like that. So he was doing his thing. Just a very artistic, grounded brother, man. And the death hits everybody funny style because it's sudden. It's so sudden and random and unexpected, and it just feels unjust.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing that's really messing with a lot of people. You know, drowning accidents, you know, for somebody who seems healthy and, you know, you're not under no public stress, it just feels eerie and surreal. So the randomness of it kind of intensifies the grief to a certain degree.
They're not right, like 285.
And, you know, he was a part of that whole black cultural renaissance era. You know, the Cosby Show and Warner, they were part of that 80s, 90s cultural boom of black excellence. You know, you had A Different World and Spike Lee doing his thing, and then you had
and I got comments on the
X-Clan and the rappers being more conscious at the time, and Public Enemy. So there was he was right there in the mix of that.
Right.
Yeah. You know, where black families were being shown with love, humor, upward mobility. And, you know, we grew up in that. There's the Gen Xers. That's something we grew up in. That's the part of us growing up watching that.
We grew up in that.
So losing him, it's like losing a part of that era.
Yeah.
All right. This feels almost illegal to know, but our windows were...
You know? And his character just gave voice to a quiet black boyhood. He wasn't a superhero or a thug. He was just a regular kid navigating through life, vulnerable. In the Cosby Show, I think his character was dyslexic, so there was a vulnerability there. It was a beautiful way they portrayed him. Funny, confident, vulnerable. It was you showed how we grew up.
Yeah.
All of our lives wasn't just a caricature, because that in white society, they would kind of, you know, we were either on crack, or we were thugging and whatever. So his portrayal brought balance to the image of black males. And
that's part of,
you know, he symbolized resilience. Because the whole Cosby legacy, when they tried to attack that with those Bill Cosby scandals, he stood tall. That didn't affect him. He didn't let that affect him. And also, he didn't throw Dr. Cosby under the bus either.
Right.
And that was honorable.
Yeah.
when the white media and the powers that be were going after Cosby and trying to shame everybody who was around, he didn't get caught up in that stuff. He didn't get caught up in it, and he
No,
nowhere
Bill
did he throw
Cosby's
Dr.
era was he
Cosby
was
under the
trying to
bus. And I
buy
thought that was
NBC,
very honorable and admirable.
and I stand on that square. He was trying to
So
buy
that
NBC.
resilience there was something to be
Yeah,
respected.
him and Bob Johnson.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, he was
And after Tariq,
he
I
was
got
out there. He
comments on
was
that.
out there in the streets.
Okay.
Meaning in the grass. He was active. He wasn't like some kind of recluse. He was performing, speaking, engaging online. He wasn't a recluse. He was out here.
Yeah.
You know, he was present. He was, you know, he did a video a couple of days ago on social media telling everybody how important it is to smile.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it just kind of reminds people of how fragile life is. And listen, man, this is why, family, we got to give people their flowers when they're here. I know that's kind of cliche to say, but we really do, man. Life is unpredictable, man. Shit. Tomorrow
The
is
only
not
thing
promised.
in life
You
that is
never know when
guaranteed is
somebody's
death,
time is gonna
taxes, and
come.
trouble.
And my brother Malcolm, his sudden passing, that's a painful reminder, man. Even people who seem healthy and vibrant, they can be gone in an instant. So we shouldn't wait on them to, you know, to pass in order to show appreciation, man. We give our people their flowers.
While they still
Honor the living. Let's honor people, man. It's not going to hurt to give people their props if they've been doing the right thing.
Right.
You know, too often people, they receive their highest praise and recognition only after they die. So we got to reverse that. Let's honor the people doing the work now. Let's honor our artists, our thinkers, our mentors, our community builders. They deserve to
You can
feel
all
their
start by
impact while they're
honoring me.
breathing. That's why, man, I try my best to put so many people on. I try to put people on and hook them up and give them a shine. That's why I do these projects and try to bring people in. When I do lectures and rallies, I try to bring in great people who I think are positive and constructive and elevate them and just show the
Well, you
world
should
how
have been
thorough
getting
they
with
are.
us, Tariq.
Even though I've unfortunately elevated a couple of riffraffs, but I'm not going to stop doing what I do.
You just got to get on.
You know, that validation, that can be fuel for the soul. You know, that acknowledgement, it don't just feel good, it motivates. It motivates other people to want to start doing the right thing too. So we got to uplift those doing the positive work. You know, it reinforces their purpose. If it's an artist, an educator, community leader, we just got to reignite their fires if they need it. And we got to be the light for each other, you know, especially Black men and women, especially foundational Black American men and women. We got to become our own support system. We got to give our folks their shine. Let's not wait on a tragedy to kind of build the community like we need to. We shouldn't have to wait till they die so that we all come together in solidarity. You know, we got to really, really celebrate folks. That's why I love New Orleans. New Orleans, they'll celebrate you in life and death.
I'll never set foot in that place.
You know, I'm looking at this as a celebration of our brother Malcolm Jamal Warner. We're celebrating his life. And we got to continue to do that. A lot of our heroes kind of go unnoticed. And we got to stop that. You know, giving people their flowers, that's healing for you and them. When you show love, it's not just a gift to them, it's medicine for you. It strengthens relationships, it heals wounds, and it reminds us that we're all interconnected in a certain way. And that appreciation, that's an act of emotional wealth.
This is what Ivy League universities you can get into with a 3.6 GPA.
Later for the commercial. You got to pay us. No, I'm at 285. I pass on the gumbo, brother.
When you respect some of the riders in the present, that builds a better future, man. I'm telling you. When a lot of the young people see us consistently respecting our elders, our builders, our warriors, our quiet heroes, that creates the blueprint on how future generations will treat each other. So a community that really celebrates its living legends, you know, you become legendary yourself. So much respect to our brother Malcolm. Let me get some calls in here because I want the mood to be upbeat. I want the mood to be upbeat and celebratory. You know, look, I know early I was, ooh, that shit was hitting me, man. Oh, that news hit me like a brick.
Yeah.
It hit me like a brick. But yeah, we got to take the metaphysical messages that's being sent here. This is a message that's being sent to all of us to uplift each other and give each other our props and praises and our flowers. And we just got to continue honoring our good brother. Let me get some of these calls in here. And I'm going to reset the joint. Look, Jimmy James, you want to hop on in, Jimmy James? Jimmy James, hop on in, sir.
Yes, sir. What's going on, brother Tariq?
Hey, Jimmy James, how are you, brother?
I'm great. Thankfully, I'm not at work tonight, but I will say this. Thank you for giving us insight and vision on pointing out people like this that kept it solid. And I would like to say this. You're right, brother. I've never seen him in the media doing no explaining, doing no nothing like that. So, and I think that's
I pass on the Mac 285.
Look at it, study it a little bit, look at his character, but that's a great point you make, man, because you never seen him in the media. And it's like some people, instead of cooning, they don't have to say anything. And he stayed quiet, didn't say anything, remained patient. So I think that that's a good position to take, as far as somebody who's been in the line like that. And I'll land my plane. Thanks,
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Miss Brainiac. Brainiac.
Now, what in the hell?
Black people swim.
Oh, Lord, man. Lord. Okay. We got one of them.
Why can't black people swim?
Well, why does your mom titty smell like sauerkraut? Why that? Okay. Let me get some more people in here. Excuse me. All right. Let me get some more people in here. We got the white supremacists up in here.
Yeah.
Let's get Lily Bloomberg. I think that's your name, Lily Bloomberg. Lily Bloomberg, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's your name. And then we'll get Sonny in the building. Lily, are you in here? Or Illy or Lily?
What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, Sonny?
What's going on? Hey man, never mind these trolls. This ain't even the time for that. Don't even trip off of them. What I did, like you said something that made me think. I like the fact that when he was on the Cosby Show, he looked like a normal, relatable, regular kid as a teenager, and he progressively grew up, and it was normal. He wasn't overly jokey. He wasn't a thug. It wasn't a caricaturized hyper nothing. It was nothing. Everything was all normal. I remember the favorite scene. I'm gonna be brief too. The favorite scene I got with him and Bill Cosby was kind of talking with. I brought you in this world, I take you out. You know what I mean? I just want y'all to laugh. I just want y'all to be able to laugh at something rather than just mourn it sadly. Just be able to just laugh at something. But I appreciate y'all. Stay up.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, man. That was the great thing about Malcolm on that show. He was a relatable kid. He wasn't a caricature. He wasn't over the top. He's just like our friends. That was the kids we went to school with.
Right.
That was the homies we hung out with. That's how we that was a good representation of how we got out. You know what I've been seeing online? I've been seeing some folks on Twitter, in the wake of Malcolm's death, some people like, I ain't gonna lie. I couldn't relate to the Cosby Show. I saw some of it, but I really couldn't relate to it. I saw some of the reruns and I couldn't relate to it. And then when you start looking at these profiles, there's some foreign flags. So I won't even open up that can of worms. I won't go there. So y'all already know. So we got some of them. So yeah, y'all ain't gonna relate to it. Yeah, because I won't even get into that. But yeah, watch out for that. Watch out for some of those. I can't relate to the Cosby Show. Yeah. There's some foreign flags. Lily, what's up?
Hey, what up, Tariq? It's Illy.
Illy, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's good? Yeah, I just called in because I just started like a YouTube channel, and I'm actually working on a video about FBAs and yourself. So,
what's the video? What's the video about?
Pretty much, I just spoke on how, I'm not FBA, but I agree with everything y'all got going on, and yeah, just
grammar really helps me get the best grades possible while depleting the least amount of hours of my week.
Something like.
There you go. Now where your family from?
I'm Cape Verdean.
Cape Verdean, okay, like Amber Rose. Got it.
No,
Oh, glad you
not
brought
really.
up Cape
I was born
Verde,
out
man.
there,
Yeah.
and then I was raised in Boston, but I live in LA now.
Yeah, but Amber Rose is Cape Verdean.
Yeah, she's Cape Verdean.
I mean, she claims to be Cape Verdean, but we don't really claim her like that.
That's messed up.
You know,
don't claim her.
It's like cool to, she claims it on some like, oh, she exotic kind of thing, A lot of Cape Verdeans are riders, like you would say,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think ain't her mama from Cape Verde or something like that? I mean, she's from the lineage. She's from the lineage, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Okay, all right. Yeah, don't put it on us. All right, that's it.
Yeah.
My man. All right, bro. Thank you so much.
All
brother.
right, take care. Yeah.
All right, let's get Daddy Milagro. Daddy Milagro.
How you doing, brother?
What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, I just wanted to come on here today and give you a shout out. I graduated from UCLA last year.
Oh man! Congratulations, brother. What was your major?
So I was an English literature major, and I'm at Cal State Long Beach doing my master's degree right now.
Oh, love that. Love it.
Appreciate it. And I just wanted to let you know, for my experience as a student, my community college counselors told me, apply to a Cal State. You'll never get into a UC, all that stuff. Very racist experience. But your documentaries, the energy you put out there has been very inspirational.
Yeah.
And kept me on a very positive path. And I got my GED in prison.
Man.
So I just want to thank you for everything you do out here in LA. For real.
Man, much respect, man. I love that, man. Much respect to you, brother. Let's get C Killer. Speaking of LA, C Killer in the building.
What's going on, Tariq?
What's going on? When I say C Killer, Rip Killer, by the way. It's when I say C Killer, I'm just not trying to say the full word.
I know.
Yeah, for those folks who are just listening, I know. Because you hear C some of the pirate, what? No, all right. But C Killer, not Crip Killer. Go ahead, C.
Right. Yeah, I wanted to speak on Malcolm Jamal Warner, man, because the thing is, I know that's your generation, but my generation, we grew up with Nick at Night. So when Nickelodeon went off, we had Nick at Night, and we got bombarded with the Cosby Show, Good Times. So Good Times came on like a little bit later, but the Cosby Show did come on Nick at Night. So damn near every Cosby Show rerun I know, so it was very relatable, man. And I just, I hope his family's doing all right, because when death hits like that, man, it sucks.
Yeah, she gets.
It really does, man. And, his parents, and I'm trying to reach out to the parents and all of that to make sure they're good. But yeah, man, it's a hard thing. It's hitting everybody, man. Stevens, what's up, Stevens?
Yo, Tariq, what's up, man? Sorry for your loss, man. Everyone out there tonight, but I'm gonna be out in Cali in September. I wanted to stop by the museum. You gonna be around then, man?
Yeah, I'll be in and out, but yeah, it's open.
September, like 7th, 8th.
Yeah, it's open. Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, come on through, definitely.
All right, man.
All right, cool.
See you. Peace.
All right, let me see, a lot of folks in here. Let's get Mr. Real Estate in Boston. Mr. Real Estate. Mr. Real, what's up, brother?
Oh, how you doing, Mr. Yeah. I'm cool. I went to the Dallas joint, and I also went to the DC joint. So just wanted to give the FBA family a heads up on Costa Rica. So, I used to go there all the time, and a couple of people had drowned from Boston. And my mom, my mom used to tell me every time I go to Costa Rica, be careful, be careful, be careful. Sure enough, one time I did go to, because the riptides are crazy. Have you been there before?
Yeah, but I'm on the Pacific side. Did you went over there to the Limon and the Caribbean side?
No, I was on the Pacific side as well. I'd never been to Limon. But what I can tell you is that the riptides are crazy. And in one year, this guy brought us over to the beach, and we didn't even know there were alligators on the beach.
Oh, damn.
Crazy. Yeah, and we looked at it in Spanish, and I'm looking, and I'm like, so family, please be careful. It's very, very dangerous. And
Saltwater crocodiles.
Did y'all see the sloth and stuff in the road and the trees and all that?
Oh, absolutely. It's beautiful. I mean, it's the rainforest, the volcanoes. It's beautiful, but it's fact. We did do that. It's just very dangerous on the border.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, brother.
All right, have a good night.
Yeah, Costa Rica is a beautiful place. It's beautiful. Costa Rica is absolutely beautiful, man. If y'all can, and it's reasonable. The It's reasonably priced to go down there to vacation. Yeah, we're going to buy a vacation spot down there. We're going to, because we loved going down there so much. We're going to get us a vacation spot down there, but I ended up using that money to get to finalize the Hidden History Museum. But it's beautiful down there. You go in the rainforest and.
Are you looking to establish your business using an address other than your home? Wish you had a professional.
Them big ass sloths be sitting in the road chilling, and you sleep at night and there's monkeys all in the trees. It's exotic. It's real exotic. Let me see. Let's raise those hands. Let's see. Get back up, Mr. Get Back Up. Hop on in. Mr. Get Back Up. Hop on in.
What up, Tariq, man?
Hey, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Just got my set in the gym, man. But damn, man, that Malcolm Jamal Warner, man, that hit me kind of hard, man. It's hard to see good black man like that, man. Just get up out of here, man. I mean, like the Bible says, man, like we like a vapor, man. Like we here for a little bit, then we vanish, man. So like you said, man, we need to get people their flowers while they're here, man. Should not take people for granted.
Right.
Cause life is short, bro. Life is so short, man. I'll land my plane though, bro.
Thank you so much. Yes, indeed. All right, y'all give me another retweet. I done reset the room. It's getting more festive and upbeat. I reset the room, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm speaking of the Hidden History Museum. You guys can come on down to the museum tomorrow. We're open. Come down and get you some root work and get you a book or a couple of books and just vibe out. Come on down.
All right, Shabaka. You had wanted to touch on several things in regards to this. Right. So now is the time. We're gonna give you your flowers now, though, Shabaka, because you've been putting in work for over a decade that I know of, probably several decades total.
Going on 15 years now. Going on 15 years now. The work. Oh, excuse me. The work that we did put in on Blog Talk, of course, the work we did put in on social media, things of that nature right there. But what it is, the powers that be with social media, as we all know, they're very, very selective about what they want to put out there. Now, as long as we're going out here talking about black men wearing dresses and all that old type of shit, we're okay. But as soon as we talk about like the Bill Cosbys, the Ollie's, the Malcolms, the Malcolm Jamal Warners, the Adam Clayton Powells, the Dr. Kings and what have you, then all of a sudden, we're bad people and things of this nature right here. And I stand on that squares because of what I've seen. And then also, too, Brother Paris, want to give a shout out there to our man, the one and only Mr. J. Dizzle.
Yes.
He was at work the other night. He took a lot of time, to speak with me. And what it is that these damn tethers, are extremely dangerous from the Caribbean, from the United States, from Africa itself. So me and the brother talked, and then like they faded it out that we all agreed on, particularly in the mid 1970s. And I would have to say, to the best of my recollection, that anytime that we had that connection with those on the continent was during the Rumble in the Jungle when Ali fought George Foreman. And of course, as we know, the story on that. But then, as we had pointed out, is that, when they come here to the United States, okay, they're told by the State Department, you cannot deal with no colored folk here in the United States, boy, them like to play. Now, isn't it very, very interesting, people, that they don't tell Asians that who are coming like from mainland China, going to San Francisco? They damn sure don't tell those Europeans that when they come, like, say, from France, Belgium, England, and stuff like that. The Netherlands.
You know why they don't tell them that? They're already on code with they're already on code with racism and white supremacy, so they don't have to tell them that. Those countries,
exactly.
They practice anti-black hate as well.
Yeah, exactly. You see, and then too, hopefully, that me and brother Dizzle had talked about. Hopefully, Ibrahim Traore is not going to get compromised like that. Hopefully, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, it's because I'm kind of like at a nexus point with him. Okay, in case nobody knows what a nexus point is, it's like you make an X, and the nexus point will be dead center of it, where the two lines crisscross.
Like a
crossroads. Yeah, exactly. So hopefully, the young brother will do what he can, because he does got youth on the side, and he could do a lot.
He could.
He really can. And I'm very, very interested about how Hollywood is going to try to do our brother Mansa Musa. You say, so I expect it to be whitewashed. Hopefully I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong and it's not whitewashed, then
I said, hopefully Hollywood don't do it, and it's an independent.
Yeah, exactly.
Independent black filmmaker that does it instead.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, too, what you got to look at is the executive producers, because the executive producers are the ones that come up with the money. You see what I mean? Just like when Tyler Perry tried to go down there and get a piece of Paramount, they treated him the same way they did Robert Johnson, who thought he was going to go over there and buy United Airlines. Yep. You see what I mean? Just because
and NBC, because it was him, Bob Johnson, Bill Cosby, and Brian Allen that was trying to see.
Okay. And you see, and they ain't gonna let them do it, because the reason being is because that they'll be getting a lot of power. They say that could cause a shift. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, of course, they don't want that shift. But as long as we out there killing each other.
Not only the fact that he sold BET, but the fact that there was an airline, there was already a black-owned airline already in operation in Atlanta around the same time, trying to acquire United Airlines, called Piedmont Airlines.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Piedmont Airlines. In fact, I think I've flown Piedmont Airlines a couple of times over the course of my life, you say. But they don't want us having, that power. You see what I mean? Because what happens is, what racist white supremacy is in fear of is retribution. But the cold part about it is they don't have nothing to worry about. You see? Because all the soldiers is gone. You see what I'm saying? All the soldiers is gone. You see what I mean? They don't have nothing to worry about with it, but they just want to keep us in our place, dealing with the American social order. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, our place is at the bottom, and that's where they want to keep us.
Yeah, permanently. See, they want us to be a permanent underclass, you see. And I believe that, who was that? Dr. Claude Anderson had stated that they want us to be a permanent underclass. So therefore, this is why I have the position that I do, you say. Exactly.
And it makes sense coming from the era that you came from, that you grew up in.
Yeah, exactly. You see, it's because, like you said, they're in fear of a black planet. You see what I mean? Well, we didn't treat these people the best ways. Oh my God, we so scared and all that. And what's that classic line, Brother Parrish? You've been through it, I've been through it. Oh, but that was so long ago. Okay, if it was so long ago, then why do you have what they call cold cases, right? Where the culprit committed a crime in his 20s, and you all are going after that dude all the way until he's in a retirement home, damn near at 85 years old. You see what I'm saying? But it happened so long ago. They say so.
On murder, there's no statute of limitations on what they did to our ancestors. So they're gonna they can either pay it outright in direct lineage-based cash payments.
Right.
Anti-black hate crime, or they can just keep losing elections like the Democrats did, or they can keep having all these natural disasters destroying their towns.
Well, yeah, see, God don't like ugly. Now let's look down there in the great state of Texas, down there with Governor Bud. You know what I mean? Yeah, old Governor Hot Wheels. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's sitting up there all decrepit, talking about, the great state of Texas and all that. But, those Texas slave patrols, man, they were brutal. You know what I'm saying?
Texas, if it wasn't for the Buffalo Soldiers.
Yeah, see, now look at that. The Buffalo Soldiers. Okay, look at that. They still want to go up there, fight for America, keep the union together, things of this nature right here. And then look what they did to the Black World War I soldiers. I believe this crew was called the Harlem Hellfighters, I believe.
You talking about the Devil's Punch Bowl, where they literally
yeah, okay, there you go, the Devil's Punch Bowl. You see, people don't even eat the peaches there. You see? You see, then of course we're not going to mention the cases of the Scottsboro boys.
Yeah,
you see,
George Stinney.
We're not going to mention, George Skinny. Yeah, there you go. You see, we're not going to mention, of course, too, about the civil rights situation with Viola Louiso, who was a young white woman from Detroit that went and helped Dr. King, and she came up dead. You see what I'm saying? And then, of course, as our sister, may she rest in power, Nina Simone,
yes,
who made a song called Mississippi Goddamn at the time of Fannie Lou Hammer. And say like on, like we show on, that we show like on with Fannie Lou Hammer.
Yeah,
say of how they abuse her just for the right to go out and to vote. You see what I mean? And the abuse they did to her, having black men beat her in the jail still, violating the system, you see. And then too, just like they did in Haiti, you see what I mean? Dominican Republic, Louisiana, you know what I'm saying? Alabama, Mississippi, Virginia, Georgia, the Carolinas. You say, and then of course, and as we all do know, like what Central Park was in New York. What's that? Seneca Gardens, I believe.
Seneca Village.
Yes, Seneca Village. You see, just like down there on Wall Street, where your stock market is.
Yep.
You see what I mean?
Stocks and bonds that were sold on Wall Street.
Yeah, exactly. You see what I'm saying? And then, of course, when we was doing Shabaka's Black Experience, you've been there, clowns would call in, you know what I'm saying? And then they'll be shown the door. And then all the hate mail will come in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Sarges, the Joe Gibsons. You see what I mean?
The three pieces.
Yeah. Well, I told him he was on his own on that one right there. You know?
Alaskans.
Huh?
The baked Alaskans.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, now one thing I will say about the Alaskan, although him and I disagreed, he was respectful.
Yeah.
Except
when he said with his whole chest, nigger. It just out of nowhere.
Yeah. You see, but if we was to return that, we got to shut you guys down and you got to pay this and all this old type of stuff. But however, though, ladies and gentlemen, what you can do, you can go on Spotify and you can Google those past episodes of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. You see what I mean? Okay.
Yeah, Spotify. It's like 5 or 6 of them are on there.
Yeah, it's about 5 or 6 of them on there, and I think they even got a couple of them with Mad Dr. D on there. You see, and then we got to look at that. We try to do positive things with it, but we had people who wanted to mess over it and stuff like that. And we know the reason why they did that, because they couldn't handle the heat. You see what I mean? Okay, which is fine because we didn't do it for you to like in the first place. It's because with you trolls coming in there talking all that nonsense, okay, proved our point even more so. Even more so. And then, of course, over here on social media, the hate mail I get on reparations. Well, that happened so long ago. Okay, but when you try to tell these people the concept of macroeconomics of the initial investment, and then when you show them of how it kept parlaying, then all our intellectual property that was stolen, you see what I'm saying? Inventions, ideas, things.
It didn't end when that proclamation was signed. It
went
exactly. 100 years afterwards. So they can miss it.
Exactly. So that's the point, that we was trying to make. Okay, now we appreciate those that try to have intelligent conversations with us. Okay, but however, here come the trolls, with their nonsense and all that old type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? But it's to be expected. When you do this type of work, people, see, you got to expect this type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? You got to expect this type of stuff.
All right, Shabaka, where you?
Yeah, we could move on to the next topic.
Where you? Okay.
With Monday.com's intuitive work management.
I don't know why my ad blocker's not working all of a sudden. Let me try refreshing.
Well, see, once again, brother,
Peace, family. My name is Vicky Jeff for African Dad.
Yeah, it's all part of it. You know what I'm saying? And then Jamil Hill, I will cuss you out again, Jamil Hill. You know what I mean? Yeah, I saw on
move us along to Karen Bass. Karen Bass, Los Angeles, city of.
So what's happening in Angel Town?
So FBA is demanding that she gets fired for giving.
They got something called an election, and they could just simply vote her out. I think they're having an election in LA. Wait a minute, it might be this year.
No, it's not this year. It's every y'all same year as ours are.
So that'll be 2027.
Yeah, so it's another 2 years.
All right.
So FBA's demand LA mayor be fired for giving migrants and illegal immigrants cash money for ICE raids. But
I could sure use 50 grand. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but when she was asked about reparations for us, she just scoffed and acted like she didn't.
Turned a deaf ear.
So the hell with Karen Bass. Y'all need to launch an immediate recall her ass. Get her out of that. See, even though, as you've already explained, Shabaka, she's just a figurehead. She doesn't really have power. The county board of supervisors that has all the power.
Exactly. Now, in her case, the LA City County, you got Los Angeles County, you have Los Angeles City. Okay, so of course the county board of supervisors, they regulate the county, but in the city of Los Angeles, the real power lies with the various commissions of the city departments.
The commissioners, the county board of commissioners or the city board of commissioners is power.
Right, because they wanted to fire her because she was in Ghana doing when they had the fires there in the Pacific Palisades and stuff like that. Now, the question is, people, they would have came down on Karen Bass if she would have went to, let's say, France, or if she would have went to, like, say, Belgium, or if she would have went to, like, say, Scotland or England.
I think they still would have came down on her. It just wouldn't have been as harsh.
Right, that's the point I'm making.
Yeah. Okay.
That's precisely my point.
So our sister out here in Colorado, Sister Vicky Dillard's gonna give us an update on that.
Oh, she's in Colorado. I thought she was in Mississippi.
No, she's originally from Mississippi, but she's been in Colorado for the past decade.
Where in Colorado?
She was in Aurora. Now she's in Lakewood.
Well, why don't you reach out to her to see if we can get her up here with us?
I have, Shabaka. To no
Okay.
avail.
Okay, and just like when I tried to email Demetria K, it bounced back. Just like I tried to do the show that Sarge was on, it bounced back. So what they're doing is,
though, I know exactly who has her contact. Our favorite person in the whole wide world, Jeff Fart.
Oh God. Oh Jeff, yeah. Okay. Well, that figures, you know what I mean? And
African Diaspora on his channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to give us a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. That way other folks.
You got to pay us,
of
lady.
a LA mayor who is black looking. How many of y'all know there's a difference between being a black person and a black looking person? Carrie Bass. By the way, a lot of folks don't know that she was really considered to be a former Black Panther. Now, when you look her up now, they trying to scrub the records, and now they trying to say, oh, she was just a community organizer. But my research from years ago, and I had discussed this years ago, my understanding.
What? I didn't know that. Did you know that, Shabaka?
Okay, I did not know that they referred to her as a former Black Panther, but I do know that Karen Bass was in the U.S. Congress for, representing parts of LA. I think she took up where Maxine, I think she took up the area where Julian Dixon was representing in the Black community of Los Angeles.
Yeah, I think you're correct, Shabaka. You would know better because you lived there for a minute.
For too long. Yeah, but I think she did take over where Julian Dixon had she left off at. You see what I mean?
Okay.
And Maxine Waters, she needs to retire. And let me say this here about Maxine Waters. Maxine Waters, you led a good fight, but due to your age, sister, you need to sit it down and let some young blood take over. So I may not have totally agreed with Maxine Waters, but however, I still recognize her contribution to Black Los Angeles. But now it's time, for her to sit it down. It's because when they slammed that door in her face, them dumpsters did. You see, that was a little bit too much. So that went on and showed that the dumpster didn't even believe in the election process that he swore to uphold. See the hypocrisy?
Yeah.
All right, moving right along to coin a phrase.
There's still some evidence he is in that area, but anyway, I'm bringing that up because somebody that's supposed to be so Black conscious and have that seed in her, from the 60s in particular, she is a total sellout, bootleg, and a rejection. She is a tool for white supremacy, and they like when you have associations with radical groups. I'm putting radical in parentheses. Any group that actually demands something, any group that demands justice, any group that demands rights, they call you a radical in the United States. Well, anyway, they love to take such individuals and reform them and make them a fool for their anti-Black, pro-white supremacist agenda, and that would be Karen Bass. Now, why am I saying that? I did a broadcast right here on the African Diaspora News channel, and I showed you footage where a foundational Black American was asking her when she was going to talk about reparations, and she played dumb like she couldn't hear when she realized what he was saying. She gonna put her hand up to her ear like this, like, keep gay? She don't sit up funny looking, sit down. Y'all remember that clip? Well, watch this recent news clip about her, about the ICE raids and what she's doing about it.
LA Mayor Karen Bass taking some action, signing an executive order in response to federal immigration raids. One part of her plan, direct cash assistance for families impacted. Tonight, one of the people who's leading that effort joins us live. Conway Collis is the president and CEO of the Mayor's Fund for Los Angeles. Welcome. Thanks so much. So how do these cards work and who gets them?
Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for covering this, because so often what gets covered is just bad news. There are things that are going really well, and the cards are one of them. And so, look, this is for documented, undocumented people. It's for people in need. And I think what's important, they'll be distributed through nonprofit organizations, through the city's family source centers, through a variety of ways that it actually gets to people directly and they can use it directly. You know, what's important, I think, is that it doesn't only help the people who are getting the cards. It helps all of us.
You're right, Mac
Because what
285, that
affects
is a
one of
damn
us helps
shame.
them from becoming homeless, helps all of us.
So this is not taxpayer money. This is not direct government assistance. This is private money that's been donated for the idea of helping people. That's an important thing to point out. But there's still a lot of people who feel like helping undocumented people, even with private money, is incentivizing people to break the law and be here. They shouldn't be rewarded for being undocumented. What do you say to those people?
These are our neighbors.
Okay, did y'all see that madness? Mayor Karen Bass signed an executive order in response to immigration raids, launching a privately funded cash aid program to help vulnerable residents. It says here, regardless of immigration status, avoid homelessness. What? They're the only ones, because ICE ain't raiding nobody but them.
Right.
How does she take this very clear, concise, physical, tangible action that she haven't even taken for Black Americans? Do you all see why we are outraged?
Yep.
And do you all see why we see some of you all that sell out and unintelligent? When you don't understand where we're coming from this, and they're playing right there in our face, they're using her to continuously stir the fire and to make it clear that there was an agenda against Black Americans, geopolitically, nationally, and locally.
Yeah.
Which is why so many foundational Black Americans have been talking about she's got to go.
She got to go.
And may they make it happen. And not only that, not only that she needs to go, everybody at the broadcast not too long ago talking about the former Hispanic Latina, Miss Nuri Martinez, the former president, the former city council president. Remember, she was called leaked, plotting against foundational Black Americans, dogging them out, saying all kinds of nasty stuff with her and other Latino lawmakers. Remember?
Yep.
Plotting. And that meeting had to do with redistricting. Yes?
Yep.
Well, some of y'all may or may not know that it was actually the White House at the time, Joe Biden, that it went all the way up to them to where they were demanding that they were removed. But a lot of folks were speculating based on belief and information that took place because there was an agenda for the Hispanic lawmakers to take over. Of course, somebody was secretly recording them. The agenda was not supposed to be public like this. So because they were caught, the White House had to distance themselves from it. I'm wondering how much of that does Karen Bass know? And we certainly believe that she's a part of that agenda in blackface. What do y'all got to say about this outrage? And how are you going to organize against it? I'll tour there I'm telling y'all some of the information.
Go ahead, Shabaka.
Okay, well, first place, like I said before, the mayor of Los Angeles is just a figurehead. The real power rests with the various commissions that you have for the various city departments. Okay, yeah, we'll do reparations because look how the Crenshaw district went down the tubes. Look at how many of our Black people were exploited in Hollywood and what have you, just like what we just talked about with Malcolm Jamal Warner. Look at how systemically the Los Angeles Police Department targets Black people, pulling them over illegally and things of this nature right here. Just like with the coon that you had down there. What's that there recently where the brother was pulled out of his car by the sheriff and what have you.
In Jacksonville.
Yeah. Right, and that Black police chief couldn't even get his lies straight. You see, so it's still this Yasabal syndrome that is the main enemy currently, in my opinion. Now, the Yasabal syndrome is a bigger enemy than a racist white supremacist because with the Yasabals, all you got to do is just wind him up, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that damn, who was that there? The Easter Bunny, the Ever Ready Bunny, or whatever, who keeps on going and going and going.
The Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, there you go. Now, how can we de-energize these ass scratchers and these Yasa bosses?
You got to stop putting batteries in their back and have to stop incentivizing to do what they're doing.
Right. You see? And then, like I said on social media, I've been shut down so many times. So when I see the garbage comes through, I just delete and block. You know what I mean?
Don't even bother. interacting
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, because this is set up. Could be algorithms. You see, in
Yeah.
fact, I'm willing to bet money that it is South Park wants nuclear. Okay, what do you mean, Mac 285?
South Park wants nuclear. Yeah, I don't know. Is he talking
Okay,
about?
yeah.
He's talking about Houston.
Oh, okay.
He's talking about Houston,
Okay.
South Park in Houston.
Okay, because they also got a South Park in the city of Los Angeles too.
What's the nuclear? I think he's talking about in Houston.
Okay, down there with Governor Hot Wheels and Governor Bud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the South Park TV show was taped here in Colorado.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I remember, man, one of your former mayors, man, told Silicon Valley, the headquarters of Silicon Valley there in Denver, Colorado, and they would make the laws for them, to allow them to expand. You see?
Yeah, it was Hickenlooper.
Yeah. Because didn't you guys have another governor there by the name of Bill Owens, I think?
Yep, Bill Owens. He was the last Republican governor we had.
Okay. Well, it's a pleasant 88 degrees here in Las Vegas today, y'all, at 10 o'clock in the morning. So about noon, it'll be about a good 101 degrees. You know what I mean?
He kicked the bucket a couple years ago.
Who is that?
Bill Owens.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, he cashed in his chips. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and then also, too, speaking of cashing in their chips, yeah, of course. You remember that old Hogan? Yeah, he bought the farm yesterday.
Yeah, I put that on the very end of the description. It was either Bill Owens or Romer, Governor Romer, that kicked the bucket.
Bill Romer?
Governor Romer.
Yeah, well, but wasn't his first name Bill?
No, Bill Owens was. It was Roy Romer. I think it was Roy.
Roy Romer. That's who it was. Roy Romer. Because I think the governor when your boy Wellington Webb had was termed out as mayor of Denver.
Yeah, the hell with Hogan, not racist white supremacy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So want to be sure to mention that. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully, Hulk Hogan, that you will come across Ali's spirit and Ali will blazing days and lean and sheen all inside your dome for eternity.
Right. I agree. So to hell with you, Karen Bass. This is some bullshit. You could be doing
this. Man, Bass. Need to resign.
You could be doing this for Black Angelenos that have been victims of redlining, victims of eminent domain, victims of
police brutality,
victims of all the horrors that Los Angeles has done to Black Angelenos. Instead, you're going to give cash assistance to illegal immigrants who broke the law to come over here, and you want to sit up here and give them a sanctuary. The hell out of here. But this is them Democrats. This is what them Democrats do. Same thing going. I wouldn't be surprised if Johnson tried to pull some shit like that here with the ICE raids that's going on here.
Right, and then looking at your last broadcast, looking at Johnson's speech, he belongs in jail.
Yeah, he really does. Remember, he said he was down to get arrested for the illegals.
Yeah, okay, well then let him go in there and book his ass and put him in one of those 4 county jails you got in Denver. Now, I ain't never seen a city in 4 counties before.
Yeah, it's surrounded by 4 counties, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, but we're one of a kind. We're the only box state outside of Wyoming in the nation.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving along, we got Shannon Sharpe settles.
Oh yeah. Wasn't it a Becky situation with him?
Yep, the OnlyFans model, the Karen, the young tenderoni, as they were saying.
Hey, underrated darkness, and a long time no hear from.
Yeah, underrated darkness in the building. I sent you the link, underrated, if you want to join us. Mac25 said something. Oh, he said he typed that by mistake. He said I was texting my friend about new South Park episode. Okay.
Yeah, now be careful with this texting on these phones. People, they got all these bugs in it, man. You know, you could be texting one place and they'll just throw it up there on something else for the heck of it. You know.
Yeah, salute to underrated darkness. We're just finishing up with Karen Bass giving out cash assistance to the illegal immigrants that were affected by the ICE raids in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And now we're on to Shannon, the dummy Sharpe.
Yeah.
Shannon, not so sharp.
Yeah.
And with an OnlyFans model and now has to settle out of court. So Professor Black Truth is going to give us an update on that.
Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of... I know you're probably expecting that I'm going to do the Black Empowerment two-step all over poor Shannon Sharpe's career grave, and don't get me wrong, I got my dancing shoes on, but this morning's briefing is going to be a little bit different than that. For some strange reason, there's this perception that Black athletes, particularly Black male athletes, just aren't very bright. In fact, the perception is that the bigger and more muscular they are, the dumber they are. I'm not sure where this comes from. Oh, who am I kidding? I know exactly where this comes from. The bigger the jock's muscles are, the smaller his brain is. That's pretty much a scientific fact. And when it comes to Negroes who are eager to get on white power's payroll, the brains become absolutely microscopic. White power believes in doing brain typing. They know how to size a Negro up to see what kind of mentality they're dealing with. They do all of these little things that most Black folks are completely and thoroughly unaware of, especially if they're just too giddy in the behind to get in good with the dominant society. It's not enough to simply be a great athlete or a great talent. You also have to prove to them that you're desperate for their validation. That's crucial and key because Black men with pride, they won't take the abuse or the disrespect. And the ones who are smart will know better than to let their white agents, managers, white friends at those parties in the hills get them hooked on drugs, or more than likely, bring around some white thoughts to go ahead and hook them that way. For too many of these Negroes, that's the pale blackjack that never misses, and these fools never learn. When they set a Negro up, they'll sit on that information for years before they finally spring it on them. These dumb jocks think that they got these women wrapped around their finger, never realizing the legal landscape is tilted totally in that white woman's favor. It's been over 100 years since Jack Johnson, and these Black athletes still ain't learned yet. No cure for stupid. Poor Shannon Sharpe. And I mean poor literally. He went ahead and entered into a settlement with that thought that he was doing race play with. She wanted $50 million. Clearly, he didn't settle for that because if you give a plaintiff what they want, that ain't settling. Now, according to the white media reports, Shannon Sharpe's net worth is somewhere between $14 and $30 million. So that being the case, any settlement would have to be in the single digits unless he's dumber than I thought. But whatever it was enough for that little skank to announce that she's going to retire, quote unquote, from OnlyFans. Considering how poorly OnlyFans pays their free-range thoughts, that's not saying much. Now, why does this keep happening over and over again to the same cast of characters? It's because these Black celebrities fall prey to it since they con themselves into thinking that they're geniuses who figured out how to navigate their way around the racial minefield of America. In these people's minds, there is no racism. Their eyes have been opened. Why, if there was racism against Black people, then how did they get that NFL contract? How did they get that contract with that white media studio or that white record contract or that government job or political office? If there was racism against Black people, then why are these white managers and these white agents and these white representatives and even these white mega millionaires and billionaires and all of these nice white people around them, why are they being so nice to them if there was anti-Black racism? They all want to see themselves as being smarter than the rest of us, and they never realized that they were cherry-picked precisely because some white person with resources saw them for the compliant, subservient tools that they are. Now, considering the adamant and, at least for the moment, unwavering stance that he was taking a couple of months back, why is it that all of a sudden he's doing this 180? Well, it's almost surely because his reputation is taking a hit with all this going on, and the fact that these race play recordings being made public, that's certainly not the kind of drip that he wants going on, because the white media is going to have a field day par excellence with that one. So obviously he's hoping that the sooner that he can settle this all, the sooner he can bury this issue and get back to podcasting or being on ESPN, etc. When you're black, they don't let you do that. Also, now that he's settled once, it's like any other form of extortion. Once you show the blackmailers that you're willing to pay, they'll just keep coming back and coming back. There's already other skanks from Christmas past who are waiting in the wings, and don't be surprised when the same Texas shyster lawyer who represented this first accuser comes back representing some of those others. Though probably be race between is it these black athletes and celebrities always think that if they just be accusers, that will make all of this stop. Because he caved once, there will definitely be others now. Michael Jackson also thought that he could treat the accusations against him as a one-and-done anomaly, a PR issue that needs to be quietly handled, and that it would all go away. He found out the hard way that's not how this works. Once you show that you'll pay them, this will encourage more. The only way out is through, and that means fighting these cases. Defeating these lawsuits is the only way to get them to stop, because the crooked lawyers, who in most cases are the ones who engineer these courtroom shakedowns, they'll have to change their mental calculus when they realize that their target would rather pay a lawyer than to pay the accuser. This is the problem with Negroes who live in their own bubbles and tell themselves that they're hot stuff, and they have people around them who gas their heads up. That's only because the white media knows the black celebrity is relevant and will get them views and clicks and subscriptions. But these black celebrities, they convince themselves these people like them and that the attention they're getting is proof that they can't be touched. But they always are, and it's by the exact same white forces of power that they thought were their friends. Can Shannon Sharpe come back from this one? A more accurate question would be, will the white media allow him to live it down? Probably not, especially not if other lawsuits start hitting him. Even without that, though, they'll still make it a point to make it hard for him to get the stink off of himself. What happened to Shannon Sharpe also dovetails perfectly with another buff black celebrity, Jonathan Majors. He's trying to get his career back on track, but you better believe the white media will try to make sure that there's a cloud over him regardless, just like they did with Nate Parker, another black celebrity who likes to hit the gym. And in Nate Parker's case, he was found acquitted in the abuse of a white woman case that was brought against him back in the day. But the white media, led by people like Robin Roberts, still dredged up all that crap anyway and reported on it as if he had been found guilty, referring to his accuser as the victim, and everything else that they could do to use weasel words to lie about him. And this is the reason why nobody ever comes to these black celebrities' defense. These people think that they've graduated from blackness. And black athletes are some of the worst offenders in this regard. I guess because they run faster than most, jump higher, or are physically stronger than most. They think that means that there's some sort of supermen with superior strength and superior intellect. They believe that they can lecture us and tell us that racism isn't a thing because of what their own personal circumstances are at the moment. White power loves to take these chumps down, because white power loves a cruel prank, especially one that takes a long time to pay off. They love sitting there letting their target think that everything is normal and that they got friends around them when they really don't, and having a good laugh at this person's expense, knowing that when it comes time to drop the bomb, it's going to completely destroy them. They love that kind of cruelty. Now, I'm not going to repost the video here, but around the time of the phony Kyrie Irving controversy, Shannon Sharpe was on that Undisputed show with Skip Bayless, and he took it upon himself to talk about Kyrie Irving in the exact same terms as the white media. He was being mocking and denigrating towards the man. And both Shannon and Skip Bayless made it a point to ridicule Kyrie Irving's statement that he had an army that was behind him, saying that he wasn't alone in this, that he was going to stand on every word of what he said. Shannon mocked him for that, saying he had an army behind him. Where'd they go? Cue the Hebrew Israelites who showed up by the hundreds, if not thousands, to support Kyrie Irving. That's where his army was. Well, it's a few years later now, and it turned out that Kyrie Irving did have an army behind him after all. Kyrie has since made his way in the NBA, gone on to bigger and better things, the phony scandal passed, and now it's Shannon Sharpe who's getting dragged by the exact same white media types who had attacked Kyrie Irving, the ones that he was sounding like. And now that begs the question, where's Shannon Sharpe's army at? Where'd they go? From the looks of things, he sure could use an army, but it looks like he's out there all on his lonesome because that's how these things always end. Having gone so far to separate themselves from Black people, isolate themselves, oh, I can't associate with those people, certainly can't be talking the way that those people do. What they do is they go ahead and isolate themselves, and that makes it easy for their new friends to become their new enemies. And the story always ends the same way. Poor Shannon Sharpe. All he wanted to do was chase some interracial tail. Well, he got it all right. Only the tail he caught was a cautionary one. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Alfredo Roberts, Wesley Monroe, Frederica Moore, for you.
Yep, that is true.
Okay.
Damn,
All right.
Shannon, what the hell, man?
Okay,
Go ahead,
so
Shabaka.
if I got this here right, I just pulled him up. Okay, he played in Creed 3, did he not?
Yes.
Okay, well, he had fought a man there. Oh boy, who was the cat that played Apollo Creed's son?
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan. Okay, all righty. Okay, so that there just goes to show of how systemically they program us there in Hollywood to be a counterman, you know, to our progress. You see what I'm saying? And he got caught up there, you know, in the movie, protecting Michael B. Jordan, and he went and did that time. And then, of course, you know, they had Felicia Rashad that played Michael B. Jordan's mother, who hid the letters from him.
Yeah.
When he was trying to write them, which was wrong. You see what I mean? Yeah. And then, of course, you know, they had to fight amongst themselves and whatnot. Yep. But one of the movies that they did is where he fought Drago's son and got fouled real bad, and then he went up there to beat Drago's son in a rematch and what happened. See, people, the thing is that you got to understand of what I've lived through when it comes to heavyweight boxing. Okay, the heavyweight champ is supposed to be like the baddest cat one-on-one. That's why they call him heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? You know, real big guys and what have you. But they don't never want to give the black heavyweight champion, you know, his proper respect. Okay, it's because they'll try to come all kind of ways, you know, to bring him down because of the imagery that he shows.
First black heavyweight champion of the world, Jack Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And
so,
then, of course,
on Shannon Sharpe, Shabaka, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, once again, he got caught up. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it happens again and again and again. And a lot of these high-profile black athletes, black celebrities, and what have you, what they need to do is they need to shield themselves, you know, from those Beckys.
Right.
Really. Yeah, I mean, look at Bill Cosby. You know what I'm saying? No, they need to shield themselves from those Beckys, you know. Need to have them security detail, you know what I'm saying? They need to have their addresses or their address or addresses, you see what I'm saying, secluded, you know, from public records and stuff like that. You see?
I've heard from numerous people over the years that they send these Beckys at these athletes and these entertainers.
Oh, absolutely. Well, like what Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said. You see what I'm saying? Just like what Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said, man. She couldn't have said it no better. You know what I'm saying? The black ball through the white net, you know, the brown ball going through the white goal post, you know, connect the dots. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
There, say. And then So if a brother, in my opinion, if he comes up, like that, man, leave your life hidden, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Leave your personal life hidden. It ain't nobody's business of what you do in your personal life. See, look what they did to Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
So Bill Cosby thought he was buying NBC, and he says, no, it's not going to happen. So it doesn't matter that if you try to go through the proper legal ramifications of it, just like they did Tyler Perry with Paramount. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They did with Robert Johnson with United Airlines. You see, build up our own infrastructures. You got to solidify the base first. You see what I mean? You got to solidify the base so you can put the foundation up on top of the base. And this is what I've been checking out about President Traore. And shout out there to Jay Dizzle. You know what I mean? And so we hoping President Traore does the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Considering what he has to work with, because he's sitting on all the gold. You see, he's sitting on all the gold.
Yeah.
And they trying to break that brother, and he's still doing it. In the spirit of Thomas Sankara and Brother Jay. He's younger than you. So I wish President Traore the best. I won't be around, when he gets up into my age group. But I would like to see the brother, go ahead, prosper and build up Burkina Faso and build up the motherland as well. Then
you'll be gumming grits.
Yeah, man, but if I'm gonna be gumming grits and pissing and shitting on myself, man, being a burden to others, man, I don't want that, man. You know what I'm saying? Half my teeth is already gone, and I know they call teeth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I wish President Traore well. As our colleague, the one and only Mr. Jay Dizzle and I discussed. We wish him well. We hope he's doing the right thing. And say, and then also too, a shout out there to the sister who's the head of state down there in Namibia, where she's returning the tariffs on the dumpsters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what have you? And then of course too, what they're trying to do down there in Angola, which is the land of Her Majesty Queen Nzinga. You know what I mean? And Matamba. Yeah, exactly. You see, so. This is why, I debate, with individuals that I do. See, in other words, people, we cannot keep praising our oppressors and turning in on each other. You see what I'm saying? Because that's all what the oppressor wants. And just like when I had put the clip up about 10, 12 days ago about Sister Mary McKeever, in the beginning, we had the land and the white man says, well, you're not, you don't exist until we discovered you. Now we discovered you, poof, you exist, which is ridiculous. And it is. You see what I'm saying? And it is. You see, just like Stinky Bird and Little Stink, you know what I mean?
Oh, Shabaka, I'm going to cover that on part 3 of the Front Line Blacc. But one of them boards got arrested here in Denver.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What they hit him with?
ICE picked up one of them boards.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, let me make sure I get this straight. So ICE picked up a board, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, deport his ass back to the Netherlands.
Right. But more than likely, they're going to send him back to Exania.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then, of course, too, of what they're trying to do down there with Julius Malema, they're trying to neutralize him.
Some fool was arguing with me and Jay Dizzle, talking about Julius Malema. He's not. He was basically calling Julius Malema an agent, and said the EFF is not for black people or some stupid shit. And me and Jay Dizzle
really?
Giving him that work.
Okay, all righty, okay. Let's hear what he has to say. And then, like I said, and I used to work with some brothers in the 1990s who were in fact from Tanzania, right? So taught me a few of the words in Zulu, such as Sabona Baba, which is a greeting, like how you doing today. Amanzi is water. Okay. And then also too is the emphasis that you are placing on the, okay, now I'm not a major of linguistics, but on the syllables as well too. You say, and then of course, as you do know, when the Boers came, which are the Dutch, okay, same things with the British. You see what I mean? They came to divide and conquer. And then when we were speaking a while back of our man Henry Selle that played Shaka in the mini series called Shaka Zulu in the 1980s, there was a deleted scene that they did not show in the United States. And what that deleted scene is where Shaka is sitting there with the white boy, right? And they were looking at the stars, and they was talking about down, up. And so then Shaka asked the white boy, he said, so what do you guys want? You guys want to have Zulu, British, Zulu, British, Zulu, British, or do you want to have English, 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 and no Zulu? And then quite naturally, of course, the white boys mentioned there was for the latter as opposed to the former, you say. But they was coming with BS with Shaka. You see what I'm saying? So inadvertently, Shaka was manipulated into committing treason against his own people because, he allowed themselves, for those Boers and those British to come there, and they came with lies, deceit, BS. Well, you don't exist until we discovered you, which is ridiculous.
Right.
You see what I mean? And then saying things like all across the continent. So we hope President Ibrahim Traore is doing the right thing. And as I stated recently, a couple of weeks ago, he did place a monument. He did put up a monument to Thomas Sankara.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, you see. And so it was the French that
Corey reincarnated. Because Thomas Sankara, for all we know, he might be Thomas Sankara reincarnated.
Yeah, could be.
Died the same year I was born. He was killed the same year I was born.
Right, and I think the current president was born about 3 or 4 years after Mr. Sankara's assassination. And like I said, that brought back the memory when I was living in Los Angeles on my way to work that morning, and I saw the LA Times back in 1987 that stated, Thomas Sankara assassinated, the French.
He was born in 88. He was born in 88. It would have been a year after.
Okay, so you were born in 88.
No, I was born in 87.
Okay. But who was born in 88?
Ibrahim Traore.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Okay. So maybe he is Sankara reincarnated, But I do know they trying to sling a lot of mud on him. I know that. And I also do know is that he has a major waterway under construction. So also too, so that's probably, like for, plumbing, toilets, stuff like that, for sanitation and things of that nature right there. So we definitely wish the brother well, and hopefully some of those neo-colonialists will take that wool off their eyes and see what this young man is doing.
Yeah,
you say?
Can only hope, Shabaka. So I'm almost.
Okay.
We already passed the 2-hour mark. We almost working on 3 hours.
All right.
The last topic, or one of the last topics is, it's probably gonna be the last topic because we already mentioned Hogan.
Right.
behind closed doors, Maryland lawmakers furious over Governor Westmore's secret reparations stall. So, for those that don't know or don't remember, Westmore, I want to say it was in April, had vetoed several reparation bills in Maryland that would have studied reparations, created a genealogy office for reparations, and I can't remember what the third one was, but anyway, they were all reparations related, and he vetoed all of them. So the Black legislative caucus out there has enough votes to overturn his veto.
Okay, hopefully they'll do it.
Shout out to one of our contributors and one of our allies, our Asian ally, Michael Pan. He's been on this heavily because he's out in Maryland and the DMV area, and he's the one that broke the story before we even broke the story. Yeah, great job, ICE. Get them mugs up out of here. Deport their
Mac 285. Good. All righty. So I appreciate his efforts that he's putting in on that. And then not to mention the fact that Maryland definitely was a slave state, is because that's where our man Freddie D got his freedom from when the slave master went up there and hit him with that whip, and he put the work in upside his dome and realized he had to get out of Dodge.
Shabaka is also where the term motherfucker come from.
Oh, yeah. Buck breaking farms, yeah.
Not only did they have the buck breaking farms, they had the breeding farms.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. See, yeah. I was just supposed to be happy-go-lucky and be all forgiving and sing like Uncle Tim Scott, you the boss, and they showed a picture of Dump and Stymie up there yesterday about them arguing over something about the building the Federal Reserve, and Uncle Tim Scott was up there, looking like Stymie and Little Rascals, skinning and grinning. You know what I mean? And the cold part about it is not so much crumb bumming on the black politicians. Just quit that skinning and grinning.
Right. Well, that's how it was back in the Jim Crow era. Shabaka just had to keep on smiling, no matter what was going on.
We know. Well, we know. That's why we appreciated Adam Clayton Powell of what he did, and of course they kicked him out the U.S. Congress, and I think Mr. Powell knew that's how that was going to end. So hopefully his heart was in the right place. You see what I mean?
So Uncle Phil's going to give us an update on Governor Westmore's secret reparations stall.
Okay, and that's going to be the last issue for me because I got to get out here in these streets.
Yeah, we already touched on Hogan, but that was the last time.
Before it gets too hot, because right now it's only 89 degrees.
Oh, it's like the same temperature here. It's like 89 degrees here.
Yeah.
All right.
I know we usually have hot summers here, but just today, I got outside and in the middle of the day I had to take and I thought about my ancestors at that moment. I said, boy, my ancestors was having to work in this heat.
Right.
A lot of them literally worked themselves to death. And just so we don't have to. Families, a lot of ancestors suffered some things that we are not suffering. And we're in the midst of a lot of our trouble. We still live very good compared to even what some of our grandparents lived during the time of the civil rights movement, right? We don't deal with some of those issues. Yes, we still got to fight. Yes, we still got to bring it on home and close it out, right? Reparations is closing it out. And
and
we're going to fight
Black
towards that. But sometimes you got to be thankful and grateful for what even you have today. even your personal life. Be thankful. Problem you can have. Somebody will like your problem. Believe it or not, whatever it may be, somebody probably will like your problem. You know, you may complain where you stay, but you're not on the street. You may not like the food you eat, but at least you're not starving. You know, you complain on your job, but hey, but at least you got one. Because some people can't get a job. They've been applying hundreds and hundreds of applications, and they can't get a job. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, sometimes you complain on your kids, but some people can't have none. Right? They can't do. They try all their best to have kids. They spend thousands of dollars to have children, and you're complaining on your children. Yes, I know kids can get on your nerves. I know, but what I'm saying is be thankful for everything that you have. Don't start complaining too much, because one thing I can tell you, when you start complaining too much and you be ungrateful, God hears that and God says, "Oh, okay, all right. So you're not happy, huh? Okay, all right. Let me show you more than I can tell you." And then like the Bible teaches, you know, God allows the devil to touch you at that point and take things from you and do harm to you, you know, and just to see where your faith is gonna be at too in the middle of all that. So just be thankful. That's the only thing I'm saying. Be thankful. You know, be thankful your husband. Yeah, he may get on your nerves, but some people love to have a husband. Be thankful for your wife. Some men would like to have a wife. So just be thankful, be grateful. Yes, that's the message. On top of that, don't play with God. I'm gonna play a clip real quick. I saw right before we came on. I even said that to my wife, and she was like, "Whoa!" I said, "Let me show y'all this clip real quick," and then we'll get more into what we want to talk about. Check this out.
God, if you hear me, strike lightning again. In the name of the Holy Spirit. I know you hear me.
Damn ads. Hold on, y'all. I think it's an ad. Yeah.
Yeah, skip the ads.
God! Hello? Why aren't you talking back to me? This is bullshit.
How convenient.
I got that video.
Yeah, pray TV.
Yeah, don't see.
Convenient.
Listen,
And that was the
FBAs are
biggest
raised. Don't play with
insult to
God,
my
man.
intelligence.
Don't do that. Don't talk crazy to God. Don't play with God. No. When I first saw that video, I was like, "Oh my God, no, she didn't just cuss at God. Oh man, she crazy, right?" Let me tell y'all something. There's a lot of things I don't say because I'm afraid of God. There's a lot of things I don't do and resisted of doing because I'm afraid of God. I don't, and another thing is because of that, I have a conscience and certain things I just can't do because I don't want my conscience eating me up, which is a good thing. If you got a conscience and it's eating you up for something, that means you're literally still human. If you don't have a conscience and you don't care about what you do, then you're not human at that point. You're a devil. Like, prime example, a lot of white supremacists that say they don't have no guilt. Well, having guilt is actually mean you're human and that you did something wrong and your spirit bearing witness with it to fix it. When they get to the point they don't have no guilt about anything they've ever done, then at that point you're a devil, because human beings have feelings, right? You're a devil. and so, yeah, I don't play. No, I don't play with God. And you know what? Sometimes doing things God's way may not be the popular way at times. It may not be the way you want to do it, but I can tell you from experience, anybody do you wrong, you don't take revenge. People leave you. You don't get bitter. You try to say, well, God, I know there's a reason why that happened. I'm gonna tell you from personal experience, you'll be better out on the end, and you definitely be better when you don't take revenge. Because I've seen personally that when you don't take revenge, boy, what comes to that person, you're gonna feel sorry for that person when you see them. Oh boy, you're gonna be feeling sorry for them. You wouldn't think you would, but like, man, they turned out like that when you just didn't take revenge. So just want to put it out there. Yeah. She playing with the Lord. That's something we don't look. We were raised with FBAs. Don't play with God, man. You don't do that. You don't play with God. Real quick, I definitely want to thank everybody for downloading the ADNC app. As you can see, we got our new commercial, right? Our new commercial, and It was great. We got a new one now. Of course, we got one from Nigeria. We have this one. That's at least two when we have produced this year. We try to get another one done maybe in a few more months. But we just want everybody to download Virginia and all those places. A lot of our ancestors were there. A lot of ancestors landed in Virginia. My ancestors landed in Virginia when I did my research. And then they were sold to sugar cane plantations in Louisiana, and my family stayed in Louisiana all that time until they moved to Port Arthur on my mom's side and my dad's side, because they had jobs at the refineries, particularly Texaco to be exact. They had a Texaco plant, and a lot of families moved from Louisiana to Port Arthur for that reason. Everybody got homes and all of that. Nobody stayed in apartments. Everybody had homes. And that's also a beautiful thing, too. One man could work a job, wife could stay home, take care of the kids. Unfortunately, today, women, unless that man making a lot of money, women don't have that option, unfortunately. So let me go ahead on and get to the first article. All right. This is one of the first articles. Let me put this up on the screen for y'all. So give me a second. Boom. All right. So before Governor Westmore vetoed a reparations study, he drafted his own plan. This is what come out as of recent, actually. This article was written about 2 days ago, and then they had an update to this article as well, okay? So we want to kind of go through it a little bit. It said near the end of the Maryland General Assembly session early this year, it said Alethea McCaskill came face-to-face and said with Governor Westmore for an infallible conversation. They had agreed to meet at the governor's mansion to discuss her reparations bill hours before the legislature was about to pass it. So the bill is a culmination of years, not months, years of work by McCaskill and others who wanted the state to more fully reckon with its racist past. It would create a commission to study options for reparations for the state's role in the enslavement of Black people and denying their rights for generations after. Privately, the governor had encouraged their work. So privately, he was like, yeah, I support that, McCaskill said. But then they heard whispers that Moore had something else in mind. So what did he have in mind? As McCaskill sipped her hot chocolate, I guess, the governor shared with her a draft of an executive order, his plan for action on reparations that contained almost the exact language from her bill. And it became clear to her that Moore wanted his name on reparations. Now, before I continue, let me ask the class a question about that. Why would Governor Westmore
agree, Shabaka,
draft an executive order
this is out
to do the exact same thing as that bill? Why would he do that? Do you have any clue as to why he would want to do that, ladies and gentlemen?
To stall. It's a stalling tactic, Uncle Phil. That's why.
I want y'all to tell me, why do you think he did that? If the bill was going to do the same thing that he was already supportive of, he probably supported it. Why did he veto it? Do y'all have any idea? Michael, do you have any idea why he did that? Or maybe even just kind of assume why he did that, Michael? Or Denise down there, do you have any clue why you think Governor Moore did that? I can try to let y'all, let me go make sure I hit all messages so I can make sure I read what everybody's saying down here. Yeah, somebody in the chat tell me, why do you think that he did that?
Why do y'all think he did?
Now, QT Gaming's family say so he could say he tried. Yeah, it's a little deeper than that. You say ego, that's part of it. Charles, that's part of it. But what do you think, just in your opinion, the real reason why he wanted that executive order with his name on it to create a reparations commission? Think about that. His name on a bill, on an executive order to create a reparations commission. Why would he do that? Outside of ego, outside of he can say, I tried. What do you think?
Puppet strings. You see?
I'm going to give my answer.
Knowing that the effort is going to fail.
My hypothesis. I believe Governor Westmore wanted the executive order signed, and we're going to go deeper. You say the debate for the Democratic presidential election. See, Jane got the gist of it. So what he wanted to do was pull a Gavin Newsom. Now think about it. Gavin Newsom, let's go back. Gavin Newsom was in trouble with California. Remember they did a recall on Gavin Newsom, remember? And they were doing a recall to get him out of there. And right around the time of the recall, what did Gavin Newsom do? Gavin Newsom signed the California Reparations Commission. Him signing the California Reparations Commission boosted him up. And then he survived the recall in California. Yeah. Westmore wants to run for president. He looks like he's trying to position himself to do that.
Stupid ads. Apologies for the ads.
He wants the black vote. He understands that I can't just come with this immigration stuff. We got the data now that says FBAs stayed home. Millions of FBAs stayed home. Kamala lost Georgia because FBAs stayed home. And when they polled the people, they said, I stayed home because they didn't give me no tangible. People were saying that, hey, if they would have gave us reparations, I would have been there for her. North Carolina's another state that people sat home, and Trump won those two states by small margins. And they said if the black community would have showed up to vote for her, Trump would not be the president right now. Black people said no tangibles, no vote. And that's what ended up happening. So any Democrat, definitely Westmore, he probably say, well, shoot, man, if I can do this study, put my name on it, I can get a lot of the black vote, because I can say, hey, I'm doing reparations. You look what I did. My name on this. You see the commission going, right? Hey, vote for me, get me in there. Like I said, I can do HR 40. He can push that. The rest of them probably can't get away with what he can get away with reparations, I'm gonna say. Well, at this point, it don't matter. If whoever running, if Gavin Newsom wanted, but see, Gavin Newsom kind of messed himself up, because Gavin Newsom probably would have been a very good contender if he would not have helped sabotage the office to being created to determine who's supposed to get reparations. That's what that bill was for in California. They were supposed to create an office to determine who's supposed to get reparations, who qualifies, who don't qualify for reparations. It wasn't yet the phase of passing out checks. And that creating an office to determine who's supposed to get paid was enough for the Democrats and Gavin Newsom. It's like, whoa. Now this getting too far. Now this is getting more serious now. Now you creating government offices now. And now because once you determine who get paid, you can't really hold reparations back at that point. And they know that. They can say he's qualified, she's qualified, they're not. Right? And we know the Democrats, by what statistics show, 49% of Democrats support reparations. 49%. That means the majority of Democrats, at a slim margin though, but the majority of Democrats do not support reparations. There's some FBAs that don't support reparations too. There's some. It's not the majority. Now we know the number says about almost 80% of Black America support reparations. So those people are a small minority. But that's what a lot of it is. Yeah, you say you want to pull the bait and switch. Now let's continue. Now let's say, highlighter in hand, McCaskill reviewed the executive order, and she saw something else in the folder. A plan for Moore's public rollout of the order. TV networks and media outlets were listed. So this dude had it all planned out. He had it all planned out, how he was going to do it. He already had the TV. He had everybody ready to go. He said there were even already the script prepared. even applaud now. Wow, Westmore, you was trying to finesse, weren't you? Boy, I tell you. He said, it was then that I sat back in the chair, looked at him, and I told him exactly this. I told him, I am disgusted with you, and I'm ashamed. He said, McCaskill, a Baltimore County Democrat, went back to the House of Delegates, where hours later, after an intense debate, the reparations bill passed by an overwhelming margin. Moore never went public with his executive order. Then weeks later, he vetoed the reparations bill, saying the study will slow down work to improve economic mobility for the systemically denied opportunity, and promising to work with lawmakers on the issue when they return in January. He said, and asked recently about the proposed executive order, Moore, the nation's sole black governor, said that he tries to balance the importance of remembering history while also ensuring the state is moving towards the work of repair. Now, Moore said he didn't go through the executive order because I wanted to try to work in partnership with the members of the General Assembly to produce something that I thought would really meet this moment. But here's the problem, Westmore. Here's the problem. And now that's Delegate Charlotte Crutchfield on the left and Delegate Alethea McCaskill, the one that clocked him. This sister right here on the right-hand side, she clocked him in his mess. And what she said, she was disgusted with him, okay? There's more to the story. We won't continue. But, so, Westmore, it don't make sense, man. You had a whole executive order ready to go. You had the TV networks. You had the script. You had when people should have clapped for you and everything. That's really scripted. You had it all ready to go. So why didn't you just sign the bill? Because if anybody gonna sign the bill, your face will be on it. Just like Gavin Newsom, right? Gavin Newsom signed the bill, and it made Gavin Newsom look good for a time. So I don't get why you didn't do it. Because if it made Gavin Newsom look good for a time, it surely probably make you look better. But you didn't do it because you wanted an executive order. Like, and now that's what the ego thing comes in at. Oh, see, I the one did this. I pushed it. But here's the thing. You're talking about moving forward. You're under more pressure, I think, than any other governor. Because you are black, and I'm using that with air quotes, because you are black, then more is expected out of you from black people, right? And I know what people are going to say. He's not FBA. He's this. He's that. I understand. But he's in that position. So FBA got to deal with him. So here's the deal. Westmore.
Okay, now here they go up here, monkeying with our works again. See, notice the key words that when we talk about all this monkeying around starts happening. You see?
This is why some of the reasons why the delineation movement took off is because you're in this position. And I think you say one of your parents was Jamaican or something like that. So they went through slavery as well. So you should understand about slavery, with you being a Caribbean slave descendant, right? At least, part of your lineage is from the Caribbean. Wouldn't you should be the first one to want to sign something like that, right? Because, hey, if it takes off in America, it's going to work in the Caribbean. It's definitely going to work in the Caribbean. The Caribbean deserve reparations as much as we deserve reparations, right? I'm all for the Caribbean getting reparations. I'm not against them. If they get reparations before we do, man, I'm gonna celebrate with them. I'm happy for them. I ain't gonna be mad that I can't get it. No, I'm cool. I'm happy with for y'all. You know what I'm saying? But because of moves like this, Westmore, this is when you get people getting upset and saying, okay, we don't want to deal with people who have dual allegiances in political position. This is where that comes from. Because everything people are saying a lot of times, even though people go too far at times, but there are some legitimate positions. And legitimately, it has been a pattern that people who come from different backgrounds or different allegiances that we don't even recognize, a lot of times they don't look out for the greater Black America community. They just don't. They look out for their own interests, which is with the Democrats, the super PACs that they are part of, and the Democrat Party does not have no plan to give reparations to FBA, and the Democrats got to see in 2024 what happens when you play with FBA. The Democrats had an immigration strategy and they failed. It's like the Democrats put millions of dollars on a poker table and lost in one hand. Lost millions of dollars just this quick. They got no ROI on the millions and millions of dollars that they spent
black people now.
in the 2024 election targeting immigrants. If they would have sat here and took all that money and time, just look at the numbers. The FBAs are set out in Georgia. The FBAs are set out in North Carolina. The FBAs are set out in Pennsylvania. Those are states that Kamala Harris could have won if FBAs wouldn't have sat out. And the Democrats don't want to acknowledge, even Boulay Martin and them haven't acknowledged that now. Boulay Martin had to come to the reality. We Boulay Martin. Boulay Martin, look, you up there with them Democrats. Since you got their ear, go tell them, do something about the reparations, Boulay Martin. I don't care who talked to him. If Boulay Martin go talk to him, if Joy Reid go talk to him, if Angela Rye go talk to him about our reparations, I don't care who talked to him. Just get it done. I don't care. I don't have to be nobody's spokesperson. Just get it done, brother, sister. Go. You got the ear. Talk to them. Tell them, hey, you either do this reparation for FBA, or we never going to win an election. Because we covered this a long time ago, even on the podcast. Democrats cannot win a national election without the black vote. Every time the black vote decreases, Democrats are guaranteed to lose. And if we choose to sit it out, Republicans will win every time. That is a fact. Not that black people got to go vote wholesale for the Republicans. No. Black people are not going to do that. I'm telling you right now, I know my people. Some may vote Republican, but they're not going to do that. Either they're going to vote Democrat or they're going to sit it out. That's really all they're going to do. That's their pattern. That's been the history of black people. If they discussed it with the Democrat, then they're going to sit it out. And the problem with the Democrat Party today is that, see, for a long time, you was riding the wave of the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. A tangible was done for that generation. We are the children of that generation. We grew up with that being normalized. We're in a situation where our country prioritizes war over the people. They prioritize predatory capitalism over FBAs, creating gentrification, all kind of other things. Predatory capitalism also creates illegal immigration, right? We live in a country that has not raised the minimum wage in years. I remember when it went up to $7.25 an hour. I was a kid back then, teenage kid. How in the world the minimum wage is still $7.25 a freaking hour on a federal level? Nobody can make it off of $7.25. Then on top of that, there's no innovation like talking about. I'm sitting up here on TikTok looking at how the Chinese living, all the tech they got, all the roads and all that. I'm like, why is our country so freaking ghetto? Like America is ghetto.
Okay, still there with us, brother.
Man, I thought about that. I said, you know, if we weren't so focusing on giving money for war and giving money to foreign countries, maybe we can have all those technological advancements and all these great things to do as a people. But no, we live in a country that cares less about the people. And for sure, Democrats, you care less about us. And now you have a generation that says this: give me my money, give me my reparations, give me my anti-black hate crime bill, give me my qualified immunity, or you can just suffer the consequences. What's the consequences, Phil? You lose. And you would have Project 2025, Project 2026, 27 to age of 930, all the way up to every year, the Heritage Foundation to put out a project. What they want to do is dismantle the country. UFBA is going to let that happen? Yes. Yes. We need, listen, this U.S. government spent, what did they say? I think they said $4 trillion, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure hold on. I want to make sure I'm right. Hold on. Let me check this out. Give me a second. I want to verify. How much money did the U.S. government spend during the pandemic?
The U.S. government spent a substantial amount during the pandemic to support the economy, businesses, and individuals. In total, the spending was in the trillions of dollars. For example, the CARES Act alone, which was one of the largest relief packages, was about $2.2 trillion. Then you had additional packages like the American Rescue Plan, which added another $1.9 trillion. So all in all, it was a massive amount of spending to help stabilize everything during that time.
But give me the total number.
The total spending is estimated to be around $5 trillion when you combine all the relief packages and measures taken. This includes the CARES Act, the American Rescue Plan, and several other smaller relief efforts. It was definitely an unprecedented level of spending in response to the pandemic.
Okay, thank you. Who's there? I didn't. Talk to your mama. Oh, hold on, y'all. I'm talking to my grandson right now. Let me see something. Somebody's at my door. I didn't order any food, so I don't know who ordered that. Somebody's at my door, and I'm trying to figure. You say Sonic? Who had Sonic? No, that's not. No, boy, that's Amazon. Thank you. All right, close my door. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate it. My grandson's come let me something at the door. All right, so we heard about $5 trillion. All right, so $5 trillion was spent. Because see, I was $1 trillion off. That's why I wanted to ask ChatGPT about that. Okay, so they spent $5 trillion during the pandemic. 5 trillion with a T. So that means they can pay reparations. Okay, so let me do some more math here. So if they was to do, let me put it sideways. Let me do my math. You give me a second. Let me clear this up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 5 trillion divided into 43. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 43 million. Hey, if they was to do 5 trillion divided into 43 million, that's $116,279.06 worth of reparations each FBA, and that's out of 43 million, right? If they took 5 trillion for reparations, so if they can take 5 trillion and just throw it, and then a lot of it was stolen with people scamming. They said people in other countries was getting money out of our government scamming, right? So $5 trillion gone during the pandemic, but then they want to say something to us about reparations. We can't do that. The pandemic showed they could spend trillions of dollars when they want to. So when it comes to the Democrats, and because we have voted for them, you say, well, why y'all ain't telling the Democrats? Because we have voted for them for 60 years. And the Democrats owe FBA. The Democrats owe FBA. So yes, we're gonna press the Democrats for why you don't tell them to Republicans. We didn't vote for them. So we're gonna press the Democrats. The Democrats is the one to be in our face. The Republicans don't be in our face, coming in our churches, trying to hold babies, trying to have hot sauce in their purse. And the Republicans don't do that. It's the Democrats. The fish fry, Clyburn. They don't do that. That's the Democrats that's doing that. So yes, the Democrats need to run us our checks. The Democrats signed off on the American Rescue Plan. The Democrats signed off on all that money during the pandemic. But you can't sign off on reparations? I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it now. I don't want to hear it. We need our reparations, or we're sitting out 2026. I'm telling you that. 2026 they will set out midterms. You already have a hard time getting people voting on midterms anyway. But black folks have no problem staying on their couch again until you Democrats get it. Democrats, you're going to have to come to the table with people you don't like. I know you don't like people like myself and many others. I know you don't like us. You don't like us. You know who we are, though. Oh, you know. But you don't want to talk to us. You don't want to sit down at the table. You don't want to do anything. See, even people like Joy Reid can't help you no more because she's not even on MSNBC. Sure, Joy has her own channel. And shout out to Joy Reid. I have nothing personal against Joy Reid, and I really don't. I may disagree on some things she has said, but I have nothing personal against Joy Reid. Don Lemon, he's not there no more on CNN. He has his own platform though, but he's not there for you anymore. Who y'all got? Abby Phillip. Abby Phillip is not a person. She's just more so a host. She's not a person that really break down a whole lot of things. And shout out to Abby Phillip on CNN. Shout out to her. Y'all gonna have to break bread with non-traditional means, and y'all don't want to do it. Y'all think that you say it's estimated that we're owed 13 children. I get all that, but I'm talking about the money they spent during the pandemic. If they got it to spend during the pandemic and they had no problem spending it because they said we're gonna spend our way out of this problem. You technically didn't need to spend your way out of that problem. You could have managed your way safely with that problem. There was more harm done to our children, keep them out of school. There's a lot of things that could be done different. But anyway, what I'm saying is they can approve billions of dollars for war, billions of dollars, as you can see with the Doge situation, everybody getting the bag. But then when FBA say, hey, Democrats, when you're in power, every time we could have got something, when Biden was in power in the beginning, he had the House and the Senate. When Barack Obama got in office, he had the House and Senate for at least the first 2 years. The first 2 years, Obama had it. Biden. And they didn't do nothing specifically for black people.
They never do.
They play games with black people. And the deal is you can't play the games. I'm going to say they used to go to the church house because that used to work. Well, a lot of FBAs don't go to church anymore. Not that FBAs don't love God, but the fact is, if you look at Jesus himself, he wasn't always in the temple. He was in the street with the people. He's in the street. He's not in the temple. And the scriptures taught that you gotta live Christ every day. Not just on Sunday morning. Every day you gotta live Christ. You can go to church every day and go burn the lake in fire and brimstone. How many people y'all know to go to church every day, but boy, they quick to cuss you out? They out there backbiting. You got something to go to church and they 304s in the church. You like, how you come to church dressed like that? You in church. So please.
Right. Get this answer.
Now let's go ahead and continue because we not finished yet. We not finished. Now they said, but multiple lawmakers said Moore and his team didn't engage with them on the legislation despite their entreaties and despite knowing for months their plans to introduce it. The U.S. Reparations Study Bill was the focus of intense work for more than a year. The Legislative Black Caucus, one of the nation's largest and oldest, decided at the start of 2024 to make Reparations Commission a priority for 2025. It said the work did not start during the session. They said Delegate Jocelyn Pena Melinik, if I'm saying it right, a Democrat representing Prince George's and Anne Arundel counties, who chairs the House committee that reviewed the bill, said the work started during the whole year before. I said Legislative Black Caucus created a subcommittee that examined past legislation, studied what other states had done, and came to unanimous consensus on their plans. And they had decided to scale back from creating a body that would award compensation to Marylanders descended from enslaved people to one that would make recommendations, lowering the price tag from untold millions to just $55,000 for staffing support. And I said the lady also brought a revised bill. It say with a top aide to the governor months before lawmaking session started in January. So here's the bill for the governor. Can you please give it to him and have him give me feedback? I say, what does he want to see? Does he want to change the title, change the composition? I want to work with the governor. I say after the session begins, she began to meet with the government staff and text them repeatedly. She even asked McCaskill to hold off introducing her bill until the deadline and giving the governor's team an opportunity to suggest changes. So they talk about how, she reached back. That's the sister, Dr. Delegate Jocelyn there. That's her right there. So we just want to go through that. A lot of people was upset with him. They say also the whole episode has been disappointing and frustrating to Davon Love, Director of Public Policy for the think tank Leaders of Beautiful Struggle, the organization that pushed reparations payments in the past, but agreed to work with Black lawmakers on the study commission as the best course of action this year. That's that brother right there. Now, there was another article here that said more disputes, criticisms of reparation bill talks. And that one was written yesterday, actually. Out of the Baltimore Banner. Now they say Wes Moore is pushing back against critics of his handling of the reparation legislation. Yeah, people not letting off of him for that. Because here's the issue, Wes Moore. You're the only Black governor in the United States of America, and you don't do reparations? Yeah, you're gonna hear it a little bit more than Gavin Newsom. You're gonna hear it, right? And vetoing one by lawmakers, right? So they said the Democrat governor never went through with his plan to introduce executive order, which would create a commission, and study the thorny issue. I like how they wrote that. How is that a thorny issue? It's not a thorny issue when this U.S. government is spending, I think $160+ billion a year on illegal immigration. That's not thorny, but reparations is thorny. I like how you wrote that. Or how the state should make amends for its role abetting slavery and systemic discrimination. It's the executive order, of course, was made public until the Baltimore Banner published an article about its existence on Sunday. And then the lawmakers expressed their frustration, all of that. So this legislation has a nominal price tag of $55,000 per year for staffing support. So they was going to spend $55,000 a year for the commission, which is a drop in the bucket for a state. $55,000, not much. And the commission would have spent 2 years studying the state's role in slavery and discrimination, offering recommendations to how to address it. While many view reparations solely a monetary payment, the bill directs the commission to consider a range of options that include official statements of apology. That's BS, as well as policy changes. You can change policy, but the money got to be there, such as property tax rebates. You can do that, but it has to be cash payments. Tuition assistance and business incentives. What that has to do with slavery. Tuition assistance goes to mostly white colleges. It's not going to HBCUs. Business incentives, what does that even mean? That's not reparations. If it's not monetary payments, it's not reparations.
Right.
Once again, let me get on camera. I'm going to tell this to the Democrats so they can hear directly from me. If it's not monetary payments, it's reparations. Okay? Democrat Party, I want you to listen. If it's not monetary payments, it's not reparations. When Biden was in office, they made sure that the illegal immigrants got monetary payments. They got cards, they got free food, free shelter, they got all kinds of things that was tangible for them to use. Well, what we're saying is, Democrats, since you had no problem giving all of that to the immigrants, then you should have no problem giving it to FBA. Reparations is cash payments, and if you want to give property tax relief with it, we'll take it. Reparations is cash payments. If you want to give us some free tuition in state college, we'll take that too. It's cash payments. If you want to give FBA businesses some sort of grant, things like that, okay, along with our cash payments to our businesses, hey, We'll take that. But if it don't be nothing else, it has to be cash payments. Because no other group around here, every time you look up, they get money. Money. No study, no nothing. Karen Bass in LA. No study about anything you're going to give them. Culver City. No study. Just, hey, we're going to pass it. Bring out the cash. And yes, him being the only black governor. Yes, we got to be on him like white on rice. He can't get away with that. I don't care. Listen, whatever. Once again, you say, well, he ain't our lineage. I don't care. He in this country. He in our politics, or this politics is ours in this country. Then we got to deal with him accordingly. And if Westmore don't want to do right by FBA, then FBA need to get his happy behind out of that governor's seat and say, we don't want you here, sir, because you haven't done right by FBA. Because there is a time to sit it out. There's a time to do that. And it's a time to protest vote. And then it's a time to vote for support. It's multiple ways we can do this political thing. But like Julius Malema said, I'll never forget that. He said, what is the point of you being in the EFF if you can't vote? What's the point of FBAs talking and you're not even registered to vote? So when it's time to go either to sit it out, or we cool, or we do a protest vote to get a Westmore out, or we do a voter support for somebody. At least we are. It's crazy to me. You cannot do all this political talk and not be registered to vote, and just sitting it out.
Right.
That's not always the strategy. Once again, sometimes it's a protest vote, sometimes it's a voter support. That's the three strategies we can do as FBA. But I don't like hearing people talking like, you registered to vote, bro? No, I'm not registered to vote. Why are you talking? You can't even help us do anything politically. Are you donating at least or something? No, I ain't doing that either. Okay, well, shoot, man, at least you can do is vote. That's free. You ain't got to pay for that. Come on, brother. You're like, get registered so when it's time for us to move, you can move as a community.
Yeah. I know, Shabaka. Stupid ass.
Yeah, they have to pay me to vote.
Maryland could do reparations if they wanted to. Oh, yes, they could. Oh, yes, they could. As long as they make it lineage based, they could. And Maryland is a state, if you know your history, that had a lot of slavery going on and a lot of selling of slaves going on in Maryland.
Yeah,
so any area, that area right there, that DMV area, that was slave central.
Yep.
Where a lot of the slaves were going to get sold.
And that's what Freddie D escaped.
So if anybody needs to talk about paying some reparations in that DMV area to black people,
yeah.
Why do you think so many of our people live in that area? If you think about it, everywhere they had slavery, our people still there.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at where the most population of black people live. Still in areas where they had a lot of slavery.
Yep.
Now, because of the Great Migration, black people start going up to Chicago and going to California, going out west, and doing that. But the majority of black people still live in the South and all the way up to the East.
Yep.
And if Westmore don't want to do no reparations, that's fine. Now let me it's at 50. Okay. Let me see what else we can get on here to make sure I cover everything. Now I say the governor and the General Assembly would have to act to carry out any commission's recommendations. Say Harris' statement also calling the question. The lawmakers quoted in the article, including their statements that Moore's draft executive order mirrored the bill. It said Delegate Alethea McCaskill and all the other crew in the think tank. I don't know who them people are. I need to look into them. All were shown or briefed on the governor's executive order. They said they described it as markedly similar to the bill. It passed with Reparations Commission. They say McCaskill also said that during the one-on-one meeting with the governor in April, she also found a folder. Okay, I think that was out there before we read in the previous one. So governor office didn't respond. And so basically, I think this is kind of where we're going to stop at. So Governor Westmore wanted to use an executive order to boost his political career off of the back of FBAs. Like I say, he could have easily did that with mission. And then if he would have been pushing, hey, get me in there. Hey, I come president, we're going to do this thing and be serious about it. But see, the deal is the Democrats are so afraid. And I don't know if it's their Democrat donors, because most of them are white, rich people from California. I don't know if they're, well, you know, let's call it is. The Democrats are just as racist as the Republicans. We know this, okay? You can't say, oh, they're Republicans. Oh, they racist. No, you Democrats are worse than the Republicans. You're worse. You're worse. Oh, before I wrap this up.
Stupid ass.
So last night I was on the stream and somebody in the chat, I don't know who you were, told me that, yeah, Phil, that Lily Gaddis woman was talking about you. Like, huh? So, you know, I went on my little trek and I ended up finding the video. You know, the first, I say 60 seconds of this to say, oh my God, I'm losing myself. I said about it. I was feeling like intelligence, like just leaving my mind as I was listening to this. I'm like, why is this woman was even given a TV platform? I said, this woman don't even have not even a third grade education. All her arguments, my 10-year-old could destroy, literally. I think the one that me laughed a lot is when you don't like it, you can go back to Africa. I started laughing when she said, go back to Africa. I'm like, listen, Lacey Lily, April. And Lacey Lily, I enjoyed myself because you know why? I didn't see you there. Lacey Lily, I didn't see you. And it was beautiful I seen you. Then Lacey Lily said, America's a white country. No, it's not. It's not a white country. A white country is Scandinavia, Slovenia, Norway, you know, Estonia, places like that. Those are white countries. I'll admit those are white countries because they are in Europe. In a lot of those countries, the population is Europeans, is homogenous Europeans. So Lacey Lily, if you don't like black people, you don't like DEI, whatever it is that you're talking about, okay? It's easy for you to take your Lacey Lily self to the airport, get on a plane, and go to one of those European countries and be part of the EU. This country is not going to be homogenous. It's everybody and their mamas here. They're not going nowhere. They're having kids. They're outbreeding you. And even some of your own people who laying up with black folks and everybody else having kids with them. Like you're just not gonna win, Lacey Lily. You're not, okay? So don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. I'm just a messenger, okay? Do whatever you want. I'm just a messenger. Then she wanted to defend, Lacey Lily wanted to defend, you know, when I said, I think about, you know, for them, freedom of speech is anti-black racism. Oh yeah, y'all want to get violent behind a word. No, I said that what you want is a no consequences for your nasty mouth. And I say it and I repeat it. Sometimes it's going to be an economic consequence, like losing your job or business. Sometimes it may be a physical consequence. You may get, you know, your head knocked off your shoulders. Sometimes it can be a social consequence. Nobody want to fool with you or whatever the case may be. But it's going to be a consequence to your mouth. You say what you want, but you're not free of those consequences. That's it, Lacey Lily. Okay. So that's it. That's far as I'm gonna go with that because yeah. That's what you said. Hello, sir. I heard reparations are for 70 plus what? I don't know what that is. Yeah. I don't take time to dealing with people like Lacey Lily. That's that high IQ speaking too. Oh my God, that's that. I mean, come on. We live in the information age. You're gonna have to get a better thing than go back to Africa. You're gonna have to get a better thing than that. I mean, Lacey Lily, I have a playlist. Like I've been on African TV several times, Lacey Lily, and they treated me very well. Yeah. So Yeah, tell me go back to Africa don't hurt me. My homeland, Lacey Lily. You know what I'm saying? My ancestors built it. And if you were more about dealing with the lice and instead of worrying about FBAs or because I talk to FBAs in the diaspora, I don't talk to people like you, Lily. So I don't know how you found my videos, Lacey Lily. I don't know, but you found it, okay? And that's it. That's it. Like I said, I wouldn't even waste my time like playing the video and talking because I'm telling you, I don't want to hurt your brain cells. So I had mine hurt just so yours don't have to. So yeah. Now, Lacey Lily, I would say this: I wouldn't cook you, but I probably if you try me again, I probably get LaSherica to cook you, Lacey Lily. That's even worse when LaSherica cook you. That's worse. See, I don't have to get my hands dirty with people like that. I don't have to. I have to get LaSherica to. So there you go. Yeah. Eric, talking about go back to Africa, like I'm afraid to go over there or something. Like, oh my God, who's hit me over there? Like, please. Because for them, going back to the continent, being in the village where there's no power and malaria. I tell people this: no matter where I go, I'm gonna live like an American. That's over there or anywhere else. All right.
Wow,
ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here.
Well, I'm not surprised on that there, Dr. Phil. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Okay. All right. So I got Dr. Quasi's information, Brother Che, that you put up there in the chat room. So I'm going to be reaching out to him. Okay. But as I stated, I still stand on my squares because now one thing about us as a people all down through history, we are complicated people and we're a complex people, you say. And then, as you know, Brother Che, they selectively want to keep knowledge of ourselves from us. And then, as you and I are both in full agreement on, is that it was the Democratic Party that brought you the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah, it sure was.
So we're definitely going to keep that out there up in their faces. You see what I mean? Now,
Forrest.
Huh?
Nathan Forrest.
Okay, enlighten me.
That's who brought us the Ku Klux Klan.
Oh, okay. I got you. And then also, too, I want to crumb bomb on that politician again who was so thankful for slavery because if she was left over in Africa, she would be worshiping a tree.
Yeah, Winsome. That's your former.
Yeah. And the cool part about it is that trees and foliage give up oxygen and they breathe in carbon dioxide. So that's pretty much like a fair exchange. And that's why up there in the PMW, the Pacific Northwest and what have you, just like they did up there too in Northern California near Truckee, where they chopped down all the trees and what have you. And the earth, as you know, is a living being. So therefore, the earth says, well, if you want to give me nuclear radiation, fuck it, I'll give you back cancer. You want to pollute my air, fine, I'll give you smog. You see what I mean? Then you got a lot of these Negroes out here, with that mindset, you know what I'm saying? I thank God for slavery because the white man brought you civilization. So another Uncle Tim Scott, well, as the X-Man said, the field Negro and the house Negro, man, you must be crazy. What's better than what we got right here?
Yeah. All right. I know you got to get going on your day. I got to get going on my day as well. So I'm going to end the show now. But thank you for staying up this morning with me. Now it's afternoon.
And it's a pleasant 91 degrees out here right now. You know what I'm saying?
It's a pleasant
and what have you. Yeah. So for all you bores and stinkies and little stink, come sit out here in the sun with me. You know what I'm saying? Come sit out here in the sun with me.
Well,
All
we'll
right. Okay.
Westmore and his shenanigans in Maryland. And we appreciate y'all tapping in with us. Join us tomorrow for a brand new episode of Front Line Blacc News, Season 5, Episode 18, Part 1. So we'll see y'all. So have a good day, Shabaka. Thank you for coming up.
Signing off from Sin City. All right. I'm out. Okay.